The Fan. He's Frank Marchese. I'm Braden Surprenant. Okay, well, this show changed drastically in about an hour.
What do you want to talk about?
I don't know. I heard James Franklin got fired. Do you want to talk about that? Want to start the show with Penn State?
I have a feeling we could push that back to tomorrow.
Yeah. Signetti went into Eugene and beat up on Oregon. I mean, that was kind of cool. Aztecs are 5-1. That's pretty sweet. Hang on a second. Hang on.
That is a must talk about later.
Must talk about. Where's Sean Lewis? How about the Aztecs?
Hold on. We're
How about the Aztecs? I'll just say it for Sean Lewis. How about the Aztecs? Okay. So all of that was planned for today's show. All of it. I was sitting there going into the week. I'm like, all right, well, we're back into football time. We got to start, trying to count down the day. Like, let's wait for this damn playoffs to be over with so we can start talking about free agency. We could do this, do that. When's the end of the season press conference that we're going to get? And it's all about maybe just trying to navigate this little stretch before Aztec basketball starts and you really start diving into Padres baseball again for the 5 days after the World Series and getting ready for the winter meetings. And that's basically it for the rest of the year. That's basically it for the rest of the year. And then guess what happened? Guess what happened? We get news this morning that Mike Shildt retires as the Padres manager. I couldn't believe it. Literally this morning. So I get up this morning. I go work out. I'm driving from Fitness Quest 10 to my house. And I'm getting, my phone is blowing up with our producer show group chat. Like Frank and Paul and Adam. And it's just like Mike Shildt has retired. I couldn't believe it. I could not believe it. Especially after the report last week or whatever it was when the team was done. And they said the Padres are expected to retain Mike Shildt and expected to retain A.J. Preller. And now all of a sudden, a couple of days later, Mike Shildt is retiring. Now, what I've gotten from just kind of asking around, seeing what I could come up with, this is, in fact, a Mike Shildt decision. And you know what? It came down to he's just kind of, done being a manager. That's what it seems like. He just wants to hang it up. He's got a long, expert in the Union Tribune. I'm sure he's going to come out and tell everybody what are the reasonings for it. But it's hard to be a professional manager in Major League Baseball. It is hard to be a professional coach in sports nowadays. I mean, you look at, I was going to talk about how with Penn State making a big boy decision to get rid of James Franklin. I mean, James Franklin had won like 10 games every year for the last, I don't know how many years. And in 12 years at Penn State, they've been great. But losing 3 in a row after making the playoff last year to awful teams, they're like, yep, see ya. This ain't going to cut it. And you look at other teams now, and I'm using the comparison to college football. You look at other teams, right? Indiana flips their program around in 1 year with Signetti, and now everybody in college football thinks they could turn their program around in 1 year with an easy firing. This isn't a firing. This is a retirement. But the same thing plays true. It is the pressure of being a head coach is tough. It's tough being a manager. So let's talk about Mike Shildt in the 2 years of being the Padres manager. He won 90 games in both years. He got him to the playoffs in both years. He won a wild card series. He lost the wild card series. He did a great job, I think. Now, the bunting was a little much. I agree with the morning show on that. There's probably a couple philosophical changes that might need to be made. But this is yet another offseason in which the Padres have to make a managerial change. I mean, let's think about how many managers the Padres have had in the last 10 years. In the last 10 years, the Padres are looking for their 6th manager, sixth full-time manager in 10 years. That's not including the interim managers. Bud Black in 2015. This is since A.J. Preller has taken over. And again, this is not like they didn't fire him, right? I mean, he retired. So it's not really, you can't like list this on A.J. Preller. But A.J. Preller is going to be hiring yet another manager. So since A.J. Preller has taken over as the general manager of the Padres, they've had Bud Black, didn't even make it that far, Andy Green, Jace Tingler, Bob Melvin, Mike Shildt. They're looking for their sixth manager, full-time. If you want to include interim managers, you're talking about Dave Roberts, who managed the game. You're talking about Pat Murphy, who, by the way, both of those guys are managing against each other in the NLCS today for Dodgers and Brewers. And Rod Barajas managed 8 games in 2019 after they fired Andy Green. So now they have to find yet another manager. I'm going to tell you right now, I think, I think two things can be true. We talked about this the other day, about the Padres have announced that they want to make, winning, just making the playoffs is not enough. They want to win in the playoffs. This is a big boy move for the Padres. Now, they didn't have to make any changes. Mike Shildt is retiring on his own. The Padres, as announced by Kevin Acee, were expecting him to come back. That was last week. They didn't think about getting rid of Mike Shildt. Didn't think about getting rid of Mike Shildt at all. And we talked about, do they have to make some type of move to change things for the future? They want to be that big boy club. Well, now they don't have to. And I'm curious to see how this goes about. The Padres could potentially promote Ruben Niebla, right? I mean, Ruben Niebla was part of the up-and-coming group to potentially be a manager. There's a lot of other guys, too. As pointed out by Bob Nightingale, some candidates. And we'll talk about this later. I want to hear from you fans out there. We got like 300 people tuned in on YouTube that are getting the news today. Let me know what you think. 833-288-0973. 833-288-0973. Guys listed. Cubs bench coach Ryan Flaherty, Manny's boy. Former Angels manager Phil Nevin. Padres special assistant A.J. Ellis. Padres special assistant Scott Service. And yes, former Padres manager and future Hall of Famer Bruce Bochy. I don't know. Here's the thing about Boch, all right, guys? Like, I got a lot of friends in Dallas. I got a lot of friends in the DFW area, in the media, work for teams. And what I've been told about what the clubhouse was for the Rangers this past year and what Bochy was, I'm telling you guys, it's not the same, okay? It's not going to be the same. I know there's the nostalgia. I know, like, somebody in the YouTube chat said, like, one last ride for Boch, since he started with us and he could finish. I'm telling you, it's not the same deal, okay? I heard the clubhouse was a circus in Texas, and the younger players were not respecting Bruce Bochy. They didn't like the way a lot of different things played out. They were upset that they continued to roll out veterans that weren't getting the job done. I'm just telling you, it wasn't great, and there's a reason why Bochy retired. By the way, he lives in Nashville now. He doesn't have to manage anymore. I just highly doubt he's coming back. And the other thing is he had an opportunity to come back the last time before he took the Rangers job. He heard what the organization wasn't interested in. He did not align with the organization at the time. The organization, the Padres organization, has not changed. I can't imagine Bruce Bochy changing his mind on that. So I'm telling you right now, it ain't happening. I'm going to say it now. Don't you call in and tell me you want Bruce Bochy to be the manager. I ain't taking it. People in the chat, bring him back. No, absolutely not. I'm not listening to that. I heard too many things of what went on in the clubhouse in Texas this year. Let Bruce Bochy be retired. The ideas are crazy. I mean, I don't know where you go from here. Now, obviously, I don't think Mike Shildt just woke up this morning and said, I'm going to retire. I think it's been a couple of days now, and the organization probably has been working on finding a manager. And the thing is, and I think the morning show brings up a good point, it's not like you're firing this guy and you need something else. The Padres kind of need exactly what they've had. I mean, they've had like back-to-back 90-win seasons. I think Mike Shildt did a great job as a manager for the San Diego Padres. Did I agree with everything he did? No. Did I agree with the way he handled the media? Absolutely not. But I'm going to tell you right now, he did a great job on the field. I don't think he cost you any playoff games. Maybe a couple of things here and there. The only thing that you would be upset about is like Shildt ball, where he bunted a lot. I mean, aside from that, there's nothing really that you can complain about with Mike Shildt. If you're complaining about Mike Shildt, I'm going to ask you the same thing I asked Penn State fans. Who are you going to get that's better than James Franklin? Right now, Mike Shildt retired. Now you got to go find somebody that's going to continue this process. And here's the thing that's interesting. Do you need a new manager or you need a veteran manager? I feel like with the team that they have, with the players that they have, I don't think you could feed them another Jace Tingler that's never managed before. The only guy to me that would be like a first-time manager, he's not even a first-time manager, but a guy like Mark DeRosa. But I'm curious to see what path they decide to do. Maybe they keep it simple. Just keep Ruben Niebla as the manager and they bring in a pitching coach. But here's the thing that's interesting to me, too, is now with Mike Shildt gone, how does the staff change over? A lot of the members of the staff were expected to field calls to get other jobs with other teams. And the other thing, when you hire a new manager, unless they promote one of the guys from within, he's going to want to bring in his own staff. Where do we go from here? We're going to be talking about this all day. Give me your phone calls. 833-288-0973, 833-288-0973. Maybe you make Ruben Niebla the manager, and you have Yu Darvish become the pitching coach. I mean, we're just thinking out loud right here. Let me know your thoughts about how you thought Mike Shildt did as a manager. Let me know what you think the Padres should go. Is this good, bad for the Padres? Some people are saying we're cooked. Some people are saying this is the step in the right direction if you want to be a big boy organization. Mike Shildt retires as the Padres manager today. That is the breaking news. That is our number one story as we start off the Braden Surprenant show on a Monday. San Diego's number one sports station, 97 through the Fan. people's comments of who the new manager is for the Padres, hilarious. People just throwing names out there. James Franklin, new manager of the Padres. Oh, that would be a sight to see. Could you imagine the tweet? Because James Franklin would put out the tweets like, "Here we go, 1-0 this week. Focused on the task at hand. Dodgers." I was joking with Frank before the show started about like the deal, and I was like, "Yeah, James Franklin, new Padres manager, right?" And what did Frank say? He's like, "I would much rather have this guy."
I'd much rather have Mike Gundy.
Could you imagine Mike Gundy with a mullet wearing a Padres uniform in the dugout trying to find a way to beat the Giants on a Tuesday night?
Like I said, give him some blue suede shoes. He will be just fine.
Put on my blue suede shoes and I boarded a plane. You know that song? Walking in Memphis, Frank. Add it to your repertoire. All right. He's Frank Marchese. I'm Braden Surprenant. This is the Braden Surprenant Show, live and local each and every day from 10 to 2 on San Diego State Sports Station 97 through the Fan. We have had breaking news this morning that Mike Shildt is retiring as the Padres manager, which means the Padres add to the list of things they have to do this offseason is find a new manager. This is now the 6th managerial hire AJ Preller will make as the general manager of the Padres. It will be the 6th manager for the Padres in 10 years. When was Manny Machado signed? 2019. How many managers has Manny Machado had in a Padres uniform? 4. He's about to have a 5th.
Too many.
When was Fernando Tatis Jr.'s first year with the Padres, Frank? 19. How many managers he had? 4. This will be number 5.
Which we're all saying is not good, right?
Not great.
So then why would you want Bruce Bochy back here?
Stop it. I've already told everybody. Bruce Bochy's not coming back here.
I know. I said.
I was told it was a circus in Texas this past year. Let's not bring the circus to San Diego because we think it's 1998. It's not.
I'm in complete and total agreement with you.
Are.
My question is, for those of you who want Bruce Bochy back, you're mad about another manager coming in. You're mad about AJ Preller getting to hire another manager. How old do you think Bruce Bochy is? You think he's in his 40s?
Bruce Bochy's super old, dude.
He's not. This is going to be the same exact conversation we're having in a couple years.
Yeah,
we're doing the same thing.
You know, if they brought him in, though, and they immediately won a World Series and then he retired, people wouldn't care.
Right, of course, because winning a World Series means everything.
Hey, man, he's 70. He's still young.
70's the new 20 from what I've heard.
Hey, you know what? Yeah, it is. Apparently it is. He's 70, dude, so not too bad.
It would be the wrong hire to hire Bruce Bochy because you're doing it solely based off of sentimental value. Bruce Bochy, it should not be the manager here.
You know what I'd love to see is Buddy Black, but you know who's not going to come back here? Buddy Black. You think AJ Preller's going to start over in like 2015? Hey, you know what? I probably made a mistake firing you in the first, 40 games that it was. No hard feelings, right? You want to come back?
We've grown as people since then.
He's probably not coming back either. This is interesting. This is an interesting move because, again, since before, we're gonna get to your phone calls. 833-288-0973, 833-288-0973. All guests on 97 through the Fan join us via the David P. Shapiro Fan Hotline. Facing criminal charges, trust David P. Shapiro criminal defense attorneys, helping clients regain control since 2010. Visit davidpshapirolaw.com. We're gonna get to your phone calls here in a second. The interesting part about this entire process now is usually when you're hiring a manager, you're trying to find something different than what you had before. Right now, I don't think they need something drastically different than what they had before. The morning show brought that up. It's totally true. It's totally true. It would be a money hire. And here's the thing. When it comes to potential managerial candidates, remember the last time we went through this process? Not really that much with Mike Shildt after Bob Melvin left, but when they hired Bob Melvin, that guy wasn't even a candidate. Yeah, it just popped up. It was just like, hey, look, Bob Melvin's the new manager. You're like, what? The A's guy? I don't know. Like, I look at a splash that you could make that would be as crazy as that. I like what we talked about last week off air, Frank. The Padres just kind of bought Torey Lovullo. I wouldn't be opposed to that. I tell you what, the manager's report on Fridays would be great. He loves the boys in the morning. We should have had him on when we had the chance at Baja Rick's, Frank. I should have sent your ass over there to ask if he'd come on. I love Torey Lovullo.
There are a couple, and we'll go over this list, but there are a couple of names here that are sticking out that I think would be pretty nice fits as far as seasoned managers that could probably find a way over here if they were enticed with the right offer.
It's possible. There's a lot, but I agree with you. You can't go with a new guy. You can't hire an Andy Green. Nope. You can't hire Jace Tingler. Ryan Flaherty, who's been here before. I know he's Manny's boy from Baltimore. You can't hire that guy. I'm sorry. And you know who else can't hire? You can't hire Fernando Tatis Sr. I'm sorry. You can't do that. In my opinion. I think that would be catastrophically bad. What do you think, Frank? I can't imagine that being a good idea.
No. Absolutely not. Absolutely not.
So and this is going to be the deal. I mean, this is what we're going to be talking about. But this is our live reaction to this news that Mike Shildt has retired as the manager of the San Diego Padres. What insane news to get on a Monday morning. 833-288-0973. 833-288-0973. Let's get out to Brandon and El Cajon. Brandon, what's going on, man?
Hey, good morning. Hey, by the way, I love that they went to the brown uniforms. That did make me happy. But you know what? They need to do is they have got to get rid of AJ Preller. All these internal problems are caused by AJ Preller.
Who are you going to get, Brandon? Who are you going to get that's better than him? They've won they've made the playoffs 4 of the last 6 years. Who are you going to bring in that's better than him?
Yeah, but look what's happened to the team. You can see in the body language of the players, they've got some severe problems.
Is that AJ Preller's fault or is that the players' fault?
Well, look who's been there through all these changes for 10 years. It's a cluster. Every year, the only common denominator is AJ Preller.
What's the only common denominator for making the playoffs in 4 of the last 6 years, Brandon? That'd be AJ Preller. The body language of the players is AJ Preller's fault, Frank. There are some faults there. I think we've criticized AJ Preller a lot.
Yes.
These last 2 years, he's been great. He has. You want to start over? I mean, come on. I understand this guy's going to be the 6th manager in the last 10 years. They didn't fire Mike Shildt. Mike Shildt is retiring. I get where you're coming from, Brandon. I appreciate the phone call. He ain't going anywhere right now. At least I don't hope so. People are commenting of his dog in the background. Davis in Oceanside. You're on the Braden Surprenant show. What's going on, Davis?
Hey, good morning. Man, big news. I think that it's a positive, generally speaking. Mike Shildt's statement about severe toll on me mentally. I'm speculating a little bit, but to me, that's a result of being told, "Hey, we need more," and not necessarily being able to change. Honestly, I think Mike Shildt was a fine manager, but I think he choked in the playoffs. I think he refused to adjust the lineup. I think the mentality was pretty poor across the team. And just real quick, last thing for me is just I don't agree that Preller is an issue at all. Personally, he puts us in a situation to win, and it's up to the manager to lead the players to win. I think Manny Machado is a big issue personally. So whatever manager we do bring in, I want it to be someone with a bold enough personality or confident enough to, I guess, earn Manny's respect, but also not let Manny and Tatis and these guys kind of walk all over him. I felt like that's what happened with Shildt, in my opinion.
Yeah, you know what? I mean, that's. I think the blame's a little fair there. I mean, he's also been very consistent with these last handful of years, right? We talked about how the season ended. I mean, that's an interesting point. I mean, that's also part of the deal. 833-288-0973, 833-288-0973. But that's the reason, Frank. We talked about how the Padres need to have a manager that is a veteran manager that they respect.
Correct.
That they respect. Elise in the chat.
Yes, I saw that.
That's a bonk more than a foul on Elisa. Bonk. 833-288-0973. The dog comments were funny.
Yes, they were. They were fantastic.
Carlos, can I pet the dog? This is what's fun about the YouTube. I mean, the chat is off the charts today. I love it. 833-288-0973. 833-288-0973. Kevin in Chula Vista, what's going on? What's your reaction to Mike Shildt retiring, man?
Wow, what a bombshell this one is to start the Monday. I suspect, Braden, there's a interesting back channel story that we may never know. There's a lot of stuff that goes on behind the scenes that, we're just not privy to. And so we've got to keep that in mind. I will say I would caution everybody to cease the manager talk until AJ's fate is decided, because who is going to come here that's quality, that's, looking at a general manager that may not be here very much longer. So that has to be decided before you even begin to think about hiring a manager, in my book.
That's part of the deal. You got to find somebody that wants to work with AJ Preller. You got to find somebody that's a veteran manager that can handle the personalities that the Padres have and the veterans that have been there and done that to a certain extent. And it's going to be interesting to see. I mean, I could see the Padres just hiring from within too. There's a lot of different ways that they could play this out. People in the chat, release the Shildt files. The conspiracy theorists are out. No. That's for the Scraby Show. Scraby Show does the conspiracies. That's for the Scraby Show.
The conscrabices.
The conscrabices is right. We appreciate the phone call from Kevin in Chula Vista. Victor in Oceanside, you're on the Braden Surprenant Show. What's going on, Victor?
Good morning, guys.
Good morning.
Well, I'm gonna start off saying I definitely agree with the neighbor, and I agree with Kevin. Maybe a couple of things that we don't know behind the scenes has bull mill kind of vibes, but aside from that, I think it's a positive. I think it's a positive for both Mike Shildt. I wish him well in his retirement. I think it's positive for the organization, bringing in a better skipper. Not to say that, I mean, Mike Shildt didn't do a good job, because I feel like he did great. 2 seasons, 90+ wins, phenomenal. But I was just talking about this actually with my buddy last week. Aside from his regular season records, I mean, when it comes to postseason, he did fall short, not just here in San Diego, but also with the Cardinals. So, again, wish him well in his retirement. When it comes to managers, I don't know who the Padres are planning on bringing, but my vote is with somebody that got interviewed last time around. We'll see. Hopefully, Benji Gill could be the new skipper.
I know a lot of people want Benji Gill, and a lot of people wanted Benji Gill last time. It'd be nice to have Benji Gill as a manager, too. I think there's a lot of great candidates, and we're going to be going through a lot of those candidates. We'll kind of tease it a little bit today, but I'll tell you what, this is going to be something that we're going to be talking about a lot. And until they hire a new manager. And here's the deal. I mean, the Padres, it's interesting that the Padres put out a statement, right? John Seidler put out his little email about, we're tired of, doing things this way, and we're going to be better. And then, and now they have an opportunity to start with a new manager. And I'll tell you this, what I've been told, this was a Mike Shildt decision. There's no conspiracies about this. Okay. Mike Shildt retired on his own, his decision. The Padres wanted to bring him back. And, we'll hear maybe from Mike Shildt on what the reasons were why he retired. I was told a couple of reasons of why he retired, but it sounds like he's not really in the managing anymore. I mean, it's a difficult job to do in this day and age of professional sports. It's hard to do. It's a lot of stress on your life. It's a lot of stuff. I mean, it's tough. You have to really want to go out there and do it every single day and love doing it, or else it's just going to eat you alive. There's nothing like behind the scenes that this is a Mike Shildt decision. He decided to retire. 833-288-0973, 833-288-0973. Give us a call. Tell us what your reaction is. We are reacting to Mike Shildt announcing his retirement as the Padres manager. Padres now in search of a new one. We'll try to keep you updated on what we're seeing around Major League Baseball with all of the news as we continue on the Braden Surprenant Show, San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan. Well, we've had a fun morning. Not what I thought this morning was going to be like. I thought the first hour of our show today was going to be about Aztec football. About the Aztecs.
How about them Aztecs?
That's right, Sean. That's right, buddy. How about them Aztecs? Aztecs got 2 votes in the AP Top 25, by the way.
Got one of the coaches, too.
How about that? How about that? Might be a little too much. That might be, you know what? But take it. Take it when you can get it. Aztecs football got votes in the poll. Got a good chance here. Got a good chance. Anyway. So we thought that's what's going to start the show. In fact, I was talking with Frank. Literally, like, last night. Was it this morning? Did I text you that this morning?
Yeah, it was this morning.
This morning. Aztec football, first hour. It's going to be great. I'm like, perfect. We're going to be on the pulse. And then, like...
I have a feeling we should just do the entire show that we had for tomorrow. We just
for
for today. We just
tomorrow?
do it tomorrow.
Oh, facts.
I have no work to do tonight. Awesome. Let's go.
So anyway, that happens. And then all of a sudden, bang. Mike Shildt announces his retirement. At least it was reported that Mike Shildt announces his retirement. So, very interesting. Jeff Sanders just put out on the San Diego Union Tribune, and this is like all the content's just flowing in. We're going to get some stuff from MLB Network that was said earlier today as well. Mike Shildt announcing retirement is one of their big stories. Obviously, it's a huge story in Major League Baseball. But Jeff Sanders of the San Diego Union Tribune put together a list of 11 potential candidates that he could see potentially being a new Padres manager. And if my computer screen didn't flash every 2 seconds, then, I'd be able to read that for you. Internal options, A.J. Ellis, Brian Esposito, Mark Loretta, Ruben Niebla, Scott Service. External options, Rocco Baldelli, Ryan Flaherty, Nick Hundley, Brandon Hyde, Albert Pujols, David Ross. Remember, David Ross was a Padres backup catcher. But to me, you have to have somebody. You have to have somebody that has experience managing to manage this team. You cannot give the reins to this organization from a managerial standpoint to somebody that's never done it before. Unless, to me, it's like a former player that they all respect, right? Like, I mean, Albert Pujols, I guess. I know, like, Yadier Molina has been, like, listed as potentially being a manager one day. I tell you what, Yadi ain't taking anybody's S. Tell you that. I don't necessarily like the list that was just put together. I didn't even realize Scott Service was part of the organization, to be honest with you. I didn't even realize he was part of the organization. But another option, I guess, for the Padres. This is going to be very interesting to see. 833-288-0973, 833-288-0973. Eric Hosmer, new Padres manager. Can't get rid of him, guys. Can't get rid of him. It's going to cost you a lot less money paying him to be a manager. Let's get out to Clay in the South Bay. Clay, this is some interesting news on a Monday, huh?
Wow, that's what I say. Oh, my goodness. I mean, who would have thought it? Not me. I was definitely looking forward to next year with Mike Shildt. But, hey, I know what it's like to decide to retire. I mean, I've done it twice. So, when you decide to retire, you retire. It doesn't matter what all the outside interference noises seem to be. It's just one of those things that makes you feel better. Shame to see him retire, but I think Esposito would be a great replacement. And the only reason I say that is A, he did manage the Tin Caps, and B, he's been in the system since 2022. He knows the system. He's the bench coach, and he for a handful of times he had to actually act as manager when Mike got ejected. But other than that, I mean, to me, it's problematic. But you don't want to tip over the apple cart and just go through total influx. I think you need somebody that's not going to try a drastic change of the whole thing. But having said that, I do want to just kick real quick to football. The Aztecs did great. Navy did great, but man, that was a heck of a game against Temple. And of course, my Browns, well, they got beat by Pittsburgh. And Joe Flacco, he got beaten his debut for Cincinnati. But other than that, it's definitely a bombshell. But I'm hoping that they get somebody suitable and they use their brains on this one.
I agree, Clay. I agree. I mean, I think there's some good managers that are out there. And again, the last time that they hired a manager not from within was unexpected. They got a guy that was currently managing an organization. They went and got Bob Melvin from the A's. So maybe there is a manager out there that the Padres can buy off a team. I mean, from that perspective, I would I'd start looking at guys like Torey Lovullo if you want to go down that route. I love all the former Padres players that people are throwing out there for manager. Somebody's like Will Myers. Could you imagine Will Myers being a manager? Do you think Will Myers ever wants to coach? No way. No way. Will Myers is living the life in North Carolina playing golf like every single day. You don't want to do it. 833-288-0973. 833-288-0973. Let's get out to Shannon and Wichita. That's a far call. Shannon, what's going on?
What's going on? I wish it was still in San Diego. Unfortunately, jobs are hard to come by. But yes, definitely a bombshell. Totally was not thinking this was on the radar, especially since I believe wasn't it Kevin Acee last week or whatever, saying it was pretty much a lock that both of them were coming back.
Yep.
But if moving forward, we're going to try and keep some consistency, which is what I think we desperately need, and which is what I thought we were going to have moving forward with Mike Shildt. I think your best option is somehow finding a way to keep Ruben Niebla, because I don't think he's going to pass up every managerial position offered moving forward down the line if we don't move him into a managerial position. And I just don't think you want to lose that guy. He's just too valuable to the team, and allow him to pick the next pitching coach to replace him, and you keep consistency in that front office and managerial spot. But the other thing I worry about is seeing Mike Shildt a couple weeks down the road all of a sudden popping up on other teams' radars, and he pops back, because then that signs a little bit of concern to me that as much as I love what AJ has done to build the culture here, and building a good team and putting our team actually in the spotlight, maybe there is something to the fact that he just wears on managers no matter who it is, and we need to find a way to stop just flushing managers every couple of years.
That's definitely the case, Shannon. I appreciate the phone call, man. All the way out there in Wichita. Hopefully the weather is not too bad yet out there in Wichita, Kansas. But there's a couple of things that he talked about. I mean, obviously, like, you have to find somebody that works well with AJ Preller. That's hard to do. That's very hard to do. We saw Bob Melvin couldn't do it. AJ Preller likes to be a little hands-on. And not every manager likes that. Not every manager that you bring in wants to do that. A couple more names to watch for. Again, everybody keeps talking about Ryan Flaherty. I don't want to. I can't imagine that being a good decision. Joel Sherman tweeting out two names to watch for the now open Padres managerial job. Ryan Flaherty, who was San Diego's bench coach in 2023 and 2024, and Cubs bench coach in 2025, and Ruben Niebla, who has been the Padres pitching coach the past 4 seasons. I can see the Padres promoting Ruben Niebla. I mean, Ruben Niebla is a guy that was mentioned for potential managerial jobs last year, and I think he's next in line, ready to be a manager. And the other thing, too, like, you don't want to let him walk when you have 2 of your interim managers currently playing each other in the NLCS in Dave Roberts and Pat Murphy. I want to add to that list. Yeah, and Ryan Flaherty was he was the offensive coordinator in one of his last seasons during the time when the offense wasn't very great for the Padres. I don't know how you have like an offensive coordinator in general. I don't know how I feel about Ryan Flaherty. I think you'd be going in an opposite direction if you hired Ryan Flaherty to be your manager. I can't imagine the Padres actually doing that. But you know what? Who knows? The thing about Ruben Niebla, and Shannon brought it up. He said, like, you can't lose a guy like Ruben Niebla. Well, didn't we say that about Darren Balsley? Did we not say that about Darren Balsley? I mean, Darren Balsley was the pitching coach for a long time. Everybody's like, we got to keep this guy. This guy's great. And I'm not saying that Ruben Niebla hasn't been great, but they found a new pitching coach. And Ruben Niebla. Now, Larry Rothschild was not very good for the Padres. But they went and they got a guy in Ruben Niebla. They could find another good pitching coach. But I remember, like, everybody was, you can't let Darren Balsley go. You can't let Darren Balsley go. He's the pitching staff. He's the reason why our pitching staff is so great. Well, you know what? They were able to replicate it again with Ruben Niebla. So who knows where they go to next? Interesting. I mean, now all of a sudden they're in competition with all these teams that need managers. Angels need a new manager. Ron Washington, gone. Ron Washington's not coming here, by the way. He had something pop up in the past that the Padres didn't like. Not in.
He had to have heart surgery last season.
I didn't think he's going to actually manage again. But anyway, Angels need a new manager.
Brother in the chat said Tony Hawk.
That's not one of the funny ones. Mike Gundy's funny. I like the Mike Gundy idea. That's funny. Giants need a new manager. Nick Hundley has interviewed for the job up there. Braves need a new manager. Rockies need a new manager. Nationals need a new manager. Twins need a new manager. Orioles need a new manager. All need new managers. The only one that's already hired one are the Texas Rangers with Skip Schumacher. The only one that has hired one. He was hired on October 10th. There's a lot of teams that need new managers. Now, here's the thing. The Padres, out of all the teams that need a new manager, are the best team. Out of all the teams that need a new manager. That's kind of a positive. Be easier to take over a program or a organization like the Padres if you're a manager. But the deal is, you have to find somebody. To me, these are what you need to find. You need to find somebody that's a veteran manager that's done it before at the major league level. Number two, you got to find somebody that can work well with AJ Preller. You have to find somebody that can work well with AJ Preller, and he's hard to work with. And we've seen managers in the past who haven't been able to do it. Most notably Bob Melvin. You have to find somebody that can work with AJ Preller. The only way to me that you bring in a guy that has not managed before is if you bring in a former player that the Padres players in the clubhouse respect a lot. But some of the lists that we've seen so far have been like, really? And the thing that's interesting about it is the San Diego Padres aren't trying to change too much about what they're currently doing. Because they're still doing things right. I mean, they've won they've made the playoffs 4 of the last 6 years. They've won 90 games in back-to-back seasons for the first time. They're trending in the right direction. Now, who's the manager that takes you to the next step? And that's what's going to make this move the hardest for AJ Preller. Who can take them to the next step? A manager that can take them to a World Series. A manager that the Padres players are going to respect. A manager that can work well with AJ Preller. A manager that has had the experience to do it before. That's the type of manager you are looking for. And to me, I don't think you can have anybody that's relatively super old. I've already talked to Bruce Bochy is not coaching anymore. There's no way. From what I was told about what the clubhouse was like in Texas, it doesn't sound like he's coaching anymore. So you better start finding somebody else on your list that you want to have as the manager of the San Diego Padres. 833-288-0973, 833-288-0973. We'll dive more into this. We'll hear some quotes we got from Mike Shildt and some reactions from around Major League Baseball on this retirement when we come back in the 11 o'clock hour. You can't count on much, but you can always count on Sundays with the NFL on CBS and Paramount Plus. Stream your local NFL game live every Sunday, all season long, starting at just $30 for your first year. That's like $250 a month. Visit ParamountPlus.com/NFL to get started today. Should be hearing from the Padres this week, I would imagine, with some type of press conference. We'll let you know when we get that. We do want to get your phone calls today. 833-288-0973. 833-288-0973. If you're just tuning into the Braden Surprenant Show, which we are here each and every day from 10 to 2, we talk a lot of Padres baseball. We talk football, National Football League, college football. How about them Aztecs, Frank?
How about them Aztecs?
Thank you, Sean. Aztecs basketball, they just had the top 25 roll out. Aztecs not ranked, BS. I hate the AP poll. I really do. I'm sure Mark Ziegler helped us out, giving him a vote. We got to get Mark on to get the Aztec basketball season going. They're going to be really good.
It's coming up.
But we're your place for Padres baseball every single day, 365 days a year, depending on holidays. So 300 and whatever days a year.
It's 24/7.
24. Yeah.
It's 24 hours a week, 7 months a year.
Nobody's talking about the Padres as much as this station is. If you haven't done so already, give us a like on the YouTube. We really appreciate it. We got a lot of guys on there. And while you're at it, you can vote in our YouTube poll. Who would you like to see as the new Padres manager? We got 4 names there. If you want others, put it in the comments. Put it in the chat. We would appreciate it. But again, give us a like. If you haven't done so already, subscribe to the Braden Surprenant Show YouTube page. It's that first link in the chat. Be sure to do that. Help us out. If you haven't done so already, you can follow us on social media at B_SURP, at BSURP. You can follow Frank Marchese at FMARKZ324 on social media. Follow me on any social media account you got at B_SURP, at BSURP. You can also follow the show at B_SURP show. And again, if you haven't done so already, we're here every single day. You can listen to us in podcast form on Spotify, on Apple Music, on the Odyssey app, wherever you get your podcasts. You can go back and listen to any part of our show. It gets posted almost immediately in our segments, so you can find us on any of those. And if you look in the YouTube chat, or if you look in the description, there's 292 of you on our YouTube page right now, which is great. Fantastic. If you hit that little bell right there, you can subscribe to our 97 Through the Fan page. We also are airing on the Braden Surprenant Show page. Would love to have subscriptions for that. It's free. Doesn't cost you anything. Click the button, and then you can find us every single day on YouTube without having to search for us. So when news breaks like today, it's easy for you to find everything that you need for your local content. And we got tons of local content. We're the only ones covering everything that's going on in San Diego, let me tell you. So all the links are in our description below on YouTube. If you haven't done so already, again, follow us on social media. We really appreciate it. And subscribe to our YouTube pages, 97.3 The Fan, and also at B_SURP. For those of you driving, for those of you listening after the fact on Spotify or wherever you get your podcast, for those of you listening on the Odyssey app, okay, this is what you do. Go to youtube.com/@B_SURP. We'll find our page, hit the subscribe button. Doesn't cost you a thing, helps us out. Really appreciate it. Okay, we had big news today. If you're just tuning into the show, Mike Shildt, we got the news in the 9 o'clock hour on Ben and Woods. Mike Shildt has announced his retirement, which means the Padres now need a manager. We have listed in the chat, in the YouTube chat, who would you like to see as the Padres' new manager? You can vote on it. We put Benji Gill on there. We put Ruben Niebla on there, Yadier Molina, Mark DeRosa. If any of those are not who you would like, chat who you think would be the best manager for the San Diego Padres. This is now an added thing to the list of things that AJ Preller has to do for the Padres in the offseason. We talked about, like, from a player's perspective of what they need. But now it's about finding the new man in charge of the ball club. And I'm sure you're going to get a lot of candidates all over there, because right now, out of all the teams that need a new manager, the Angels, the Giants, the Braves, the Rockies, the Nationals, the Twins, the Orioles. Out of all those teams, the Padres are the best one. They're going to get a lot of potential ideas. And here's the thing. For everybody that's talking about Bruce Bochy, my connections in Texas said that the clubhouse was a circus this past year with the Texas Rangers. The veterans, the young guys could not relate to Bruce Bochy. It's not going to work, okay? He's not going to be the manager of the Padres. You can't stop thinking about, what it was in 1998. It's not going to happen. He's 70 years old. And here's the thing. I mean, now with A.J. Preller, now he's going to have to hire another manager. This will be the 6th managerial hire for A.J. Preller. This will be the 5th manager for Manny Machado and Fernando Tatis Jr. You cannot. And to me, I feel like now you have to extend A.J. Preller, because what kind of manager is going to want to sign on with the general manager that's in a lame duck period because he's in the last year of his contract? Nobody. I just say, like, well, what happens if A.J. Preller gets fired? Am I getting fired? Am I jumping on a sinking ship here? You kind of have to extend A.J. Preller. Or you just get rid of him too, which I don't know why that would be the case. Mike Shildt getting retiring, and then you fire A.J. Preller? That doesn't make any sense. Seems like now is a great time as ever to extend A.J. Preller. And for everybody, it's like, A.J. Preller, The guy's gotten you to the playoffs 4 of the last 6 years. Remember what it was like before A.J. Preller showed up? It's a question I asked, like, Penn State fans that wanted James Franklin fired. Who are you going to get? Who are you going to get that's going to be better? Start giving me names of guys you're going to get that's going to be better than what it is right now. Sometimes the players have to play. 833-288-0973, 833-288-0973. Let's get out to Scott in San Diego. Scott, you're on the Braden Surprenant Show. What's going on, man?
Hey, Braden. So I got a great idea. Someone who will fit in perfectly with A.J. Preller. I don't think he'd be a great coach, but I think A.J. Preller should hire A.J. Preller to be the manager. He makes all the decisions anyways and runs the show and micromanages the managerial position anyway. So why doesn't he just hire himself, put on a uni, and get down in the dugout?
Yeah, that sounds like a terrible idea, Scott. Who did that? Jack McKeon? Did Jack McKeon do that when he was a Padre?
I believe so. I mean, it's working well for, like, the Cowboys as far as, like, the dual role for the owner general manager thing. It's working really well.
That worked great for Bill Belichick and the Patriots.
Yeah, it did.
Wasn't that great? Again, I mean, I'm just telling you, like, when you talk about A.J., I thought he's done a great job the last 2 years. We've criticized them a lot on this show. He's done a great job the last 2 years. And I know you want to make that next step, but unless you got somebody ready to go right after that, that's going to be better. I mean, I don't know where you're going to get. 833-288-0973, 833-288-0973. Let's get out to Mike in Temecula. Mike, what's going on, man?
Hey, long time no speak.
Yeah, what do you got?
Hey, I have a question on. I don't really know the gist of it, but so we have AJ, and he's on his lame duck year, whatever you want to call that. Is this a process where you kind of got to get AJ signed first, and then get the manager, and then make the decisions, or does AJ, like who we're going to re-sign or who we're going to go after? What's the scenario, the best scenario for a new manager coming into the Padres?
To me, Mike, and I appreciate the phone call, this is what I think you would need to do. You give A.J. Preller a 3-year extension or something like that. 3-year extension. So he's on top of like this next year, so 2026. So you extend it for 2027, 2028, 2029. And if you just want to make it clean, give him a 4-year extension to 2030. When you hire the new manager, give him a 4-year contract or a 5-year deal. 26, 27, 28, 29, 30. Whatever you decide to do, you have to give whatever you're giving AJ Preller the extension time-wise, you give the head coach the same and have them have the contracts expire the same year. Because to me, if it doesn't work out with the next manager, at this point in time, you probably would then have to make a decision on AJ Preller too. That's how I view it. We thought the Bob Melvin hire was going to be his last hire. And then Bob leaves to go to San Francisco, and then they hire Mike Shildt. Now Mike Shildt retires. More managers back to back to back is crazy. He'll be the 6th manager in the last 10 years for the Padres and AJ Preller. I think whatever you extend AJ to is the contract that you give the new manager. Give him a 3-year extension. Give the manager a 4-year deal. Have them both have the contracts expire in 2029. I think that's a clean-cut way to make this thing happen. But I would extend Preller before I have him hire a manager, because guys applying for jobs, and you got to think about this when you're applying for a job yourself. Do you want to apply for a job that you don't know if the guy above you is going to get fired in the next year or not, if he's going to come back? You really don't want to sign on with a guy that he's the one that brought you in and he goes within a year. That doesn't look very good for you. That doesn't sound like you're jumping on that sounds like you're jumping on a sinking ship. So to me, you have to have some stability, and you have to have AJ Preller locked in for the next couple of years before you let him hire a manager. 833-288-0973, 833-288-0973. Vince in Chula Vista, you're on the Braden Surprenant Show. What's going on, Vince?
Hey, Braden. Thank you, as always, for kind of letting me chime in here. So this one's interesting, right? It appears that the manager of the San Diego Padres has a 2-year shelf life. That, the last 5 or 6 anyway, have a 2-year shelf life. That in and of itself is interesting. Now, given that this is a highly results-based business, and if you have the mindset of what got you here is not going to get you there, well, for us, there is the World Series. And we've seen this show. For as good a man as Mike Shildt is, and he's a much better man, a much better person than he is a manager, and he's a pretty damn good manager. He didn't get us there. So this whole change up, the retiring, and, being a resident old guy, I've got 3 years on Shildt. I'm happy for him. This is a young guy's game. It truly, truly is. So Bochy being 70, hopefully he gets on a boat somewhere and fishes for the rest of his life and enjoys his grandkids and all that good stuff. That's what he should be doing. I go back to my interesting point. Mark DeRosa is interesting. Benji Gill, I don't know if he's managed anywhere, but I think you've got to have somebody that has, the chops, that has done this before, that's going to take a team that is full with stars and get this, guys, stars that need to be motivated. Jackson Merrill doesn't need to be motivated. I happen to think he is the leader of this team. You put a bat in his hand and you look at the look on his face, that kid is ready to go. Taddy and Manny, on the other hand, those two have got to be motivated. And so it's going to be super, super interesting. I'm with you, Braden, on you got to get the GM done first. Then you bring the person in, and it's got to be somebody young, dynamic, can motivate these guys with the mindset that what got us here is not going to get us there, and try to get that, man. They've got to. We've seen this movie so many times, and this year, by the way, was a failure. And I'll debate anybody, 90 whatever wins, 72 sellouts and not one home playoff game. You ask any of them, it's a failure. So now they got a chance to reset. Can't wait to see what the hot stove league is going to drive. And so, Braden, as always, man, you are, in my book anyway, brother, you're number one here. So keep doing it. Love listening to you. And I'm sure I'll be calling in soon at some point, man. You take care. Have a great day.
Thank you, Vince. Appreciate it, man. You got to, you know what? He brings up a good point about getting somebody young in here. I mean, it's hard, right? Because you want somebody young because it's a young man's game, but you also want some experience and guys that a manager that these players are going to respect. You know, I think it's interesting with the Benji Gill. And I know Ruben Niebla's never been a manager before, but here's the deal with Ruben Niebla. He's still one of the coaches on the staff. It's like they know him. It's not a foreign guy that's brand new that's never managed before. The Padres players respect Ruben Niebla. They talk about how great he is all the time. At least the pitching staff does. I can't imagine the players, the position players going like, yeah, we don't really like Ruben. We don't think he knows what he's doing. So to me, like that, like Ruben Niebla, even though he'd be a first-time manager, to me, he's different because he's been there before. Like, he's part of the org. The players know him. You know, Benji Gill has had some time managing, you know, I don't think really at the big league level, but, you know, I know he manages Team Mexico. He's a Castle Park grad. And the guys like Yadier Molina, Mark DeRosa, like, they're younger and they're recent players. And even though they're first-time manager, I think Yadier Molina would demand a lot of respect. So that's interesting from like the new first-time manager standpoint. Those would be the only first-time managers to me that I would potentially give a phone call to. But I think it's an interesting, we're in an interesting spot here. The thing is with the Padres, you can say what you want about Mike Shildt. I mean, you got to find that the guy that could take it to the next level. But there's only so many managers that can do that. I'm going to keep bringing it up. To me, it's like it's very similar to the whole James Franklin situation. Like, they're tired of him not winning big games or whatever it is. And sometimes you risk going back to being mediocre on a splash hire because you didn't get to that next level. This is different because Mike Shildt's retiring. And you want the team to be a little bit more consistent to what they were this past season with just a couple of changes. It'll be interesting to see how this plays out. 833-288-0973, 833-288-0973. When we come back, we'll get back to your phone calls. I see Brandon in Carlsbad. I see Keith's calling in. We'll get to you when we come back. Plus, Jake Peavy reacted to this news on MLB Network. What did he have to say? We'll play that as well as we continue on the Braden Surprenant Show, San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan. 11:24 on a Monday morning. What a Monday it is. All guests on 97.3 The Fan join us via the David P. Shapiro Fan Hotline. Facing criminal charges, trust David P. Shapiro criminal defense attorneys helping clients regain control since 2010. Visit davidpshapirolaw.com. A lot of news with coaches this weekend, huh, Frank?
Yeah, and it keeps on coming,
It just keeps on coming.
Tennessee fired their head coach. There were like 4 coaching fires in
Who, the Titans?
Yeah.
Nice. They could have had Mike Vrabel. They said to get rid of him because they're stupid.
It's like
Titans might be the
college
dumbest one.
football coaches that bit the dust this weekend.
Titans are stupid. They just do stupid things. They're just dumb. So dumb. Hey, man, they could really use a running back like Derrick Henry. You know, they really need a receiver. The guy, A.J. Brown's pretty good. He's not being used by the Eagles. Oh, wait. What team was he on before the... Mike Vrabel's doing a great job with the Patriots. He'd be a great coach for the Tennessee. Oh. Fire their entire organization. What? Are you okay?
Now this coming across from 15 minutes ago, Sandy Alomar Sr. has passed away.
No, that's terrible. That is terrible. Anyway.
We just got a break today.
It's Monday, dude.
It's Columbus Day, Indigenous Peoples Day, whatever, however you want to.
Somebody said it's Italian American Heritage Day. Is that a thing?
That's, I mean, you know, there's.
Do I need to go get some chicken cutlets? Make a chicken cutlet sandwich?
I had those last night, actually.
Oh, nice. I had homemade Philly cheesesteaks. I'll talk about that at noon hour.
Lucky you.
With all these news and stuff, it's like everybody wants their coach fired that lost this weekend in college football. I love message boards like TCU. Some guy in the TCU message board says Sonny Dykes is too good of a husband and a father to be a good football coach. Good guys aren't good football coaches. I want my football coach divorced and estranged from his family, eating, drinking, breathing football, watching film every night until 3 a.m. Are we good? Are you, brother? Are you good? Are you good? Sonny Dykes can't get the job done. God forbid he's part of his family's life. He's not focused on winning enough. Too busy being a father and a husband. That is a foul. That is so bad. Message boards. Message boards. Are you kidding me? Sonny Dykes is too nice of a guy. Guys that cheated on his wife, therefore he can't be a good football coach. Do people like read what they put?
Oh, I'm just stupid.
Look at Frank's face. Incredible. Should that be a factor for the new Padres manager? I don't know. We can't hire this guy. He's at all of his kids' Little League games, and he's a loving husband. Not good enough to coach. I mean, what? The insanity. Insanity. That's not why Urban Meyer was a good football coach, guys. It's not why Urban Meyer is a good football coach. I have to tell you.
The internet's going to be the death of us all.
For every one of those, it becomes pretty funny. For every one of those bad parts, there's one that gets you coming back for more, Frank.
Yeah, I know. That's why I haven't deleted Twitter yet.
Yeah, poor Wilbur, Brenton Ford in the chat, dude. I mean, that was such an Arizona L. That was such an Arizona L on Saturday. I was watching that game going, Arizona is going to pull an Arizona right here, and that's exactly what they did against BYU.
We were supposed to talk about that yesterday. Well, today. Sorry.
Today. I was not supposed to talk about anything yesterday.
No,
it was my day off.
Yeah.
Do you do a Sunday show? I mean, maybe you could.
I could.
You could.
I
you
would.
could have talked about it yesterday.
Could have.
I know.
Lord knows I'm not watching the NFL.
The 3 afternoon games yesterday, I went and did stuff. I went and got my supplies for the Philly cheesesteaks.
I changed my brakes and got my car washed because I thought that was more entertaining.
That is more entertaining than the 3 afternoon games. That's a fact. The morning games are okay. Anyway, back to the news. Mike Shildt has retired. Mike Shildt is no longer the manager of the San Diego Padres. San Diego Padres are now looking for a new manager. That has been the topic of discussion the entire morning and probably for the rest of the afternoon. Sam Levitt will join us in the next segment, but before we get to that, let's get to our phone calls again. 833-288-0973, 833-288-0973. We had to know today what Brandon and Carlsbad thought of this move, of Mike Shildt retiring. Here is Brandon in Carlsbad on the Braden Surprenant Show. What's going on, Brandon? What do you got for us today? Brandon, are you there? He's speechless.
You hyped it up.
I know. And then he
always
and then he dropped the ball, apparently. We'll put him back on hold. All right, Chris in San Diego. You're on the Braden Surprenant Show. What's going on, Chris?
Yeah, Brandon, I got two takes I want to get out here. One is, why does it matter how long A.J. Preller's contract is? If I'm a coach looking for a job and I get a 4-year contract, I don't care if he gets fired. If they fire me, I'm still guaranteed the money. That's the first point. Second point is, when you're managing, 10 years ago, we didn't have home run hitters leading off. They were cleanups. Why don't we just have the best on-base percentage leading off and down from there? I'll wait for your response.
All right. Well, he gets a foul for calling me Brandon.
He draws the foul.
Started off the call poor on that. All right. Well, you know, when you want to when you sign onto a job, especially these guys that are managers, they kind of want to be the manager for more than 1 year. Frank, isn't that kind of a bad attitude to have? It's like, I don't care. I'm getting paid. Isn't that a bad way to, I don't know, do your job?
That's a great attitude to have in private, but to let that out in the open.
Yeah,
no,
I don't really care if I get fired. I'm getting paid anyway. Come on. Do you want your manager to have that attitude? I don't want a manager to have that attitude. If that's the case, I don't want that guy. Because it's just all right, well, he doesn't care about winning. He just I'm going to get paid. A lot of these guys care about winning and want to do a good job, and they don't want to get fired because the general manager got fired. As soon as the guy that hires you gets fired, all of a sudden it's new general manager is going to want to bring in his new guy. That's how it works. Now, in terms of the on-base percentage thing, I think Fernando's one of your better dynamic players at the top. He did not have that great of a year, at least to Fernando's standards. This team doesn't have a lot of players that are home run power hitters. They don't. They got a lot of pure hitters. I think they got a lot of good hitters, but they're not just power hitters. And the game has changed a little bit when it comes to filling out a lineup. I mean, you got guys at the top of the order that are guys that you want up multiple times. It's that they're not making batting orders like they used to back in the day, where it's 1 was a slap hitter, and then 2 is a good hitter, and then 3 is your best hitter, and then 4 is your power hitter. They don't make lineups like that anymore. 833-288-0973, 833-288-0973. Ryan in Chula Vista, you're on the Braden Surprenant Show. What's going on, Ryan?
Hey, how's it going? Can you hear me?
I got you, dude. What do you got?
Can you hear me?
I got you.
Oh, perfect. Hey, you know what? I wanted to say Mike Shildt is one of the best coaches the Padres have had in the last 10, 15 years. Realistically, as much as, there's small things about the bunting issues that were going on, this guy commanded the clubhouse, 2 90-win seasons in a row. And the first time ever, I would say that there was actually a culture that was being cultivated. This next pick, it's going to be very, very important. I don't know how they continue to breed the culture they worked so hard to create the last few years. Maybe an internal pick would be best. And I would like to hear your thoughts on, do hitters as a whole respect a pitching coach being the head coach? Bud Black didn't do well in the playoffs. Bud Black is still, highly viewed, but overall, or is that why the catcher's the perfect middleman? I'll leave you to it. Thank you.
Ryan, appreciate the phone call. It's an interesting conversation. I don't think the players don't respect pitching coaches that are managers. It's just a different way to do it. But I think they respect Ruben Niebla. I think they definitely respect Ruben Niebla. So maybe they do need to hire from within to continue that culture. We'll see. 833-288-0973, 833-288-0973. When we come back, Sam Levitt will join us, get his reaction to Mike Shildt retiring and where the Padres might move from here. When we continue on the Braden Surprenant Show, San Diego State Sports Station 97 through the Fan. 11:40 on a Monday morning. All guests on the 97 to the on 97 to the Fan join us via the David P. Shapiro Fan Hotline. Facing criminal charges, trust David P. Shapiro, criminal defense attorneys helping clients regain control since 2010. Visit davidpshapirolaw.com. And now joining us on the hotline is the pre and post game show host of the San Diego Padres radio network. His name is Sam Levitt. He joins us to react to the news that Mike Shildt is retiring as the manager of the San Diego Padres. Sammy, what's going on? Happy Monday. A little bit filled with more news than we expected today, huh?
Yeah. Hey, guys. Good morning. No doubt about it. I was on my way to get a cup of coffee this morning and found out the news alongside all of you, and obviously pretty stunning to wake up to on a Monday morning.
What was your overall reaction when you did see the news? What were you thinking immediately? And where do where do you think, Mike Shildt might have made a decision to decide to hang it up after 2 years?
Yeah, I think my initial reaction, I was stunned. I think alongside a lot of us, and I'm sure a lot of the fans. I mean, look, even with the disappointment of how the season ended the last couple of years, I certainly expected Mike to be back. I think Mike has done a really, really nice job here. I mean, look, it didn't end the way you wanted it to in both seasons, but winning 93 games, winning 90 games, going to the postseason 2 years in a row, when you look at Padres history, that's a big accomplishment. And I thought Mike did a really, really nice job here, and I certainly wish him the best as he moves forward. So I was pretty stunned. I mean, I did expect that Mike would be back. For him to walk away from reportedly 2 years left on his contract, I think obviously it's surprising. There are only 30 of these jobs, and Mike has been in this game for a long, long time. And quite frankly, you look at his track record and what he did in St. Louis and now San Diego, it's hard to argue that he's been that he's been anything short of a really good manager. I mean, you're talking about somebody who has 90 wins or more in all 4 full seasons he's been a major league manager. I mean, that's pretty remarkable and I think hard to accomplish. So my initial reaction is yeah, I was very, very surprised. And obviously now if you're the Padres, you've got to move on and find the right fit. And to me, out of the jobs that are now available, it is right there at the top of the list. This is a very talented team with major stars. And obviously a team that I think going into next season will have very high expectations once again. So yeah, I mean, I was stunned. And now I think it's kind of fascinating to see what direction they go in for a variety of reasons.
We're talking with Sam Levitt, who is the pre- and post-game show host of the San Diego Padres radio network, joining us at the news that Mike Shildt is retiring as the Padres manager, which opens up the door for a job here in San Diego to potentially be filled with a new manager. Before we talk about potential candidates and what's the ideal candidate, and not necessarily names, but like that you would want in a Padres manager, how would you say Mike Shildt did in terms of being a manager with the Padres? And we talk about the 90 wins and more than 90 wins in both seasons. But, managing in baseball is a lot about managing personalities. And this team has a lot of personalities and a lot of veterans, a lot of high money guys mixed with players that are young, right, that still have that hunger. You got to see a lot of this firsthand. How would you evaluate the way that Mike Shildt was able to get so many different walks of life to go out there and compete night in and night out as a manager?
Yeah, Braden, I think he did a really good job managing all of that. To your point, this is a team that has big stars, guys that are making a lot of money, big personalities. We saw in 2023 a really disappointing season, right, with all kinds of rumors swirling towards the end about what was going right, what was going wrong inside that clubhouse. And for Mike to come in, and I think 2 things. Number one, that at the end of the day, wins are the thing, right? And the bottom line is he led this team after a very disappointing 2023 to a couple of very, very, very good seasons. Obviously, they didn't end the way you wanted them to, but I think by any metric, a 90-win season is a very, very good season. Have this team within reach of a division title. So I think that in and of itself says a lot to the job Mike did, a team that I think has played hard, that certainly cared. Like, I think he did a very good job here in, whether you agreed with everything Mike did day to day or not. And I know especially this past year, there was a lot of consternation about the lineup and some of the decisions day to day. And that's part of the gig. That's part of what comes with being a manager, and certainly a manager of a team that has high expectations and a fan base that wants to win and deserves to win. But I think all things considered, this team played hard for him. This team won a lot with him. And I think ultimately that is the goal. And they did have an identity, I think a very good attention to detail. So, you don't have to agree with everything a manager does, certainly, and most fan bases don't. But I think it's a fair expectation for a manager to manage personalities and have their team play hard for them. And I think no doubt if you watch this team the last couple of years, this team played hard for Mike, and they also seem to really like Mike and respect Mike. So to me, when I look back at the Mike Shildt era of Padres baseball, I consider it a real success. I mean, 93 wins, 90 wins for this organization is nothing to sneeze at. And I thought this team played hard for him and respected him.
Something that's obviously glaring to a lot of Padres fans and other people out there in Major League Baseball is the amount of managers they've now had in a 10-year span. I mean, since A.J. Preller has taken over, he has had 5 different managers manage his team that are guys that he has hired. He has had 3 interim managers mixed in with that. And this next hire will be the 6th full-time manager that A.J. Preller will hire in a 10-year span. When you talk about different managers for your star players, Manny and Fernando have been here since 2019. They have yet to have a manager for more than 2 years, and they have had 4 different managers. Now, the last couple of managers, Sam, have been some extenuating circumstances. Bob Melvin goes out and leaves for San Francisco, and now Mike Shildt retires. But how much of this is a problem for the Padres and a problem for A.J. Preller when you have this much turnover at the manager position?
Yeah, look, it's an interesting question. I don't know if it's a problem per se. Look, to your point, Braden, they've gone through a lot of guys. Now, they've all been different situations, to your point, right? I mean, why Andy Green left to why Jace Tingler left, the situation with Bob Melvin leaving, which, was interesting in its own right, and coming off a very disappointing season. I almost put this Mike Shildt thing in a very different bucket. Now, is it stunning, I think, for a 57-year-old with multiple years left on his contract, who's done, I think, by most metrics, a very good job here, to walk away from that job? Yeah, I think that's why you feel so stunned about it this morning. So I kind of put this in a different bucket because, assuming this is all, true and how it went down, and Mike Shildt leaving on his own accord, which certainly it sounds like he did. And I thought he did a great job with his letter to the Union Tribune, and it was heartfelt. I just put this in a very different bucket, assuming we're taking everything at face value, right? That Mike is walking away on his own. And I believe that. I believe what he wrote. To me, it's the only thing that makes sense for this particular situation and what he's done here. And I wish him the best. So I just put this in a bit of a different bucket than the other departures. But I think it's fascinating to see, okay, now where do they go? I think when you think about a coaching staff that I think certainly deserves to be back, I mean, these are Mike's guys. These are guys he brought in. Obviously, Ruben was deservedly a holdover from the previous the previous manager, and I would assume the Padres deeply want Ruben to be a part of this because he's so good. But it's going to be interesting, right? If you hire a manager from outside the organization, typically you allow in some capacity that guy to bring in his own staff. And to me, this staff deserves to be here. They've done a really nice job. So look, there's a lot to chew on when it comes to who's next and where they go. but I do think that this current coaching staff deserves to be back. But, how does that play out if they go outside the organization, I think is an interesting question.
Well, and the other thing too is a lot of these potential coaching, assistant coaches was labeled last week in different articles from the San Diego Union Tribune as candidates for managerial jobs themselves outside of the organization or other potential promotions with other organizations, and a lot of candidates for a lot of other coaching spots. So curious how that plays out. Now, Sam, when we talk about what the candidate needs to be for the Padres, to me, when talking about it, there's a lot of different things. You have to be able to work well with AJ Preller. We've seen managers in the past that haven't been able to do that, not have the same level of success. They have to be able to manage a lot of personalities. And on top of that, which makes this job the most interesting, it's the best job on the market. I mean, this is a team that is built to win now. It's not a rebuild. It's not a rehaul. This is a team that, as the morning show said, doesn't necessarily want to have a drastic change with what they've been able to do. They just want to get to the next level. So for you, what is the ideal, without saying names, the ideal candidate in a manager to help lead this team get to the next level?
Look, I think it's somebody who is going to be able to deal with some of the realities of who the Padres are, in the sense of this is a team with players under big contracts that are extremely important to their success that they need to be able to work with. I don't think it's something, I know from a fan standpoint, it's very easy to look at, the way the season ended and the struggles of guys like Manny and Tatis in a couple of those games, to say, oh, they need a guy who's going to get those guys to play hard, to show up. And, I don't think it really works like that day to day over the course of an 8-month baseball season. To me, it's got to be somebody who is capable of working alongside their stars, of managing those personalities. Look, to me, the most important job of a manager, beyond bullpen moves, beyond writing out the lineup card, yes, all those things are important. But when you look at the full scope of an 162-game season, look, it's about getting guys to play hard and having a cohesive clubhouse, and I do believe having an identity and working with what you have inside that clubhouse. And the Padres have a very unique situation where there are expectations, where there are big stars, and I do think they need somebody that can work within those parameters. To your point, Braden, this is not going to be a job unlike the other ones that are available, where you're walking into a clubhouse of young guys, where you're walking into a clubhouse that I think you can necessarily truly mold because you have all these, 20-something-year-olds. That is not what this is. So to be honest, I think from that perspective, it's almost a more important hire than when you are hiring for a clubhouse that is really young, because there are just certain realities of who the Padres are that don't exist with other teams that are hiring for jobs right now. So it's very important. I think it's delicate. I think you have to pick the right personality and the right fit. I'm fascinated to see if that will come from inside the organization. Again, to me, that is one of the real mysteries about this situation, is that, to me, this coaching staff, this is a coaching staff that won back-to-back 90-win seasons. To me, it's a coaching staff that deserves to return. They've got a pitching coach in Ruben who is widely regarded as, one of, if not the best in the game. So, does it come internally? Maybe. But I would certainly expect that you're going to have external candidates, at least part of the process as well. So it's a very delicate hire and an important hire when you're talking about this specific situation. And I do think, regardless of what exact personality you're hiring, it does have to be somebody that can, work hand in hand with your stars and your players that are incredibly important to the success and identity of your club.
Sam, we appreciate the time. I know it's off-season Sammy just got thrown into the fire a little bit today, but we appreciate you joining the show.
All right, guys. Thank you. I appreciate it.
And Sam Levitt joining us on the David P. Shapiro Fan Hotline. When we come back, national reaction to Mike Shildt retiring as the manager of the San Diego Padres, plus some other sound that we have found throughout the nation. Talking about this big story in sports. New lunchtime hour when we come back.
San Diego, it's time to fire it up. From the beaches to the ballparks, from the Gaslamp to North County, no one knows America's finest city like he does.
You can't just punt on a Manny Machado prime years.
He's a fourth-generation San Diegan, born and raised in the heart of this community. Passionate, opinionated, and always bringing you the real talk on your teams, your city, and everything in between.
Braden totally knows his stuff. He's ready for the next step. That guy is good.
Live and local, it's the Braden Surprenant Show.
But I think Braden's one of the up-and-coming young stars in the media game in San Diego.
Now, here's your host, Braden Surprenant.
Noon lunchtime hour on 97.3 The Fan. Braden Surprenant Show. Couple hours left. Obviously, main point of our show today is talking about Mike Shildt and what the Padres do at manager from here on out. I mean, they got to go hire a manager now. He's Frank Marchese. I'm Braden Surprenant. This is the Braden Surprenant Show. You can hear us every single day from 10 to 2 on San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan. We're leading into Gwen and Chris. We're right after Ben and Woods. It's your first time hearing us. Thanks for tuning in. We appreciate it. If you like more, if you like what you're hearing and you want more, you can follow us on social media at @B_SURP. You can also follow us on or like us, favorite us, whatever it may be. Wherever you get your podcasts, we're on every single podcast platform. I think our earlier hours have already been posted. You can listen to us on the Odyssey app.
Not yet, but they will be here in a couple of minutes.
So yes, we have that as well. And then, of course, we are on YouTube. We're on 97 The Fan. We also have our own YouTube page, like Ben and Woods do. Ours is at @B_SURP. Subscribe to us. We really appreciate it. If you haven't done so already and you're watching on YouTube, give us a like on the YouTube video. It helps us out. It helps push out our show. We have 57 likes on there, 300 people watching. Let's boost the like button a little bit. We had somebody ask what a windsock was, Frank. What's a windsock?
Windsock would be someone who just kind of goes with the flow. Their ideas are basically whatever the most popular idea is. They don't really have any defined thoughts or feelings of their own. They just kind of go with whatever's being said.
They change their opinion based on what the public opinion is, just so nobody gets mad. They don't really stick to an opinion. Whatever which way the wind is blowing, that's what they're talking about. So yes, that is a windsock. Do not be a windsock. Have a take, don't suck. Have an opinion on something. Put your name on it. Put your real name on it. Not your fake name, your real name. To all the YouTube people out there. 833-288-0973, 833-288-0973. So we've talked about it from a local perspective. This is a very big story in sports right now. It's a very big story on a Monday. I mean, with everything else going on in college athletics, with the firings that happened yesterday, NFL coaches getting fired. I mean, all these coaches are getting fired. Mike Shildt retires today, which opens up now another managerial opening in Major League Baseball. There are now 8 teams that need a manager. You could have counted 9 with Texas Rangers, but they just got one. 8 teams need a new manager. Padres are now one of them. We talked about it with Sam Levitt just moments ago. You could take this as a negative. You could take that. You could make excuses about this. You could say what you want, but these are facts. Since AJ Preller has taken over as the general manager of the San Diego Padres in 2014, at the end of the season of 2014, he has had 5 managers. He is going to be hiring his 6th. That is a fact. Now, I agree with Sam in the sense of they're all different situations. And we'll get to that in a second. But that is a fact. The other fact, since Manny Machado and Fernando Tatis Jr. have become San Diego Padres, at least at the major league level, right? We know Fernando was in the minors for a little bit. But since they have become Major League Baseball players for the San Diego Padres in 2019, they have had 4 different managers. And they have yet to have a manager for longer than 2 seasons. That is also a fact. Now, here's the deal, okay? I will give AJ Preller the benefit of the doubt. The last couple of managerial hires are a little bit different. Okay? In 2015, when Bud Black was the manager, he was the guy that A.J. Preller inherited. They got off to a 500 start, and A.J. Preller made the move. Now, this is what I talked about when it was, you don't want to be a manager for a team that general manager gets fired. Even if they keep you, you're on the short list. You are a ticking time bomb. Any sign of adversity, your ass is gone. And so when A.J. Preller came in, Bud Black wasn't the guy he hired. He got sent out almost immediately. I mean, he lasted like 2 months? Like 60 games or something like that? Even that? I'm pretty sure they're like 34 and 35 or something like that when Bud Black got fired. Gone. Okay, makes sense. First managerial hire. He hires Andy Green. Now, Andy Green was always going to be a guy that kind of like bridged the gap. He was never going to be the guy that was going to win them a World Series. He was going to be the guy that just had to wear it as they rebuilt this particular roster. And then they went, right? So he gets fired. And in the process, right, so they have like Pat Murphy. Well, actually, Pat Murphy and Dave Roberts were the interims for the Bud Black era. But they fire Andy Green. Rod Barajas becomes the new manager, right, for a couple of days as an interim. And then you get to make then it became the first real managerial hire for AJ Preller for a contending team. Because at that point, it's signed, right? They've signed Manny Machado, and they had Fernando, and they had guys coming up, and it was time to bring in Jace Tingler, which I thought was a bad hire. From the get-go, it didn't make a lot of sense, right? So that's sort of the Jace Tingler era, right? Because Andy Green at the end there had Manny Machado and Fernando for that last year. He got fired. They were going to go to this next guy. This was the first big hire for A.J. Preller, was Jace Tingler. He lasted a shortened 2020 and 2021, and that was it. That was it. You knew that a new manager wasn't going to be able to handle this team. And then they hired Bob Melvin. So in reality, and this is the deal, I mean, like, Bud Black wasn't going to last very long. Andy Green was supposed to be the bridge gap of a lousy team. He had to wear it, and the opportunity was like, look, we're going to give you an opportunity to be a manager. The team's going to suck. You're not going to be very good, and we're going to get rid of you before we decide to be good. That was Andy Green. Jace Tingler, that was a swing and a miss. That was a bad hire from A.J. Preller from the get-go, hiring the guy from Texas that he knew a lot. I mean, he was never going to get the job done, and the players didn't respect him. They liked him as a person. They didn't like him as a manager, first-time manager. That was a failure of a hire for A.J. Preller. Then he gets Bob Melvin. Now, whether it was him getting Bob Melvin or Peter Seidler getting Bob Melvin is two totally different things. Bob Melvin was a good hire. Bob Melvin got to the National League Championship Series. Bob Melvin, solid. Bob Melvin left at the end of 2023. Wasn't fired. Probably was a mutual parting of ways. Didn't sound like the Padres really liked the way it was going. Bob Melvin did not see eye to eye with A.J. Preller and a lot of different things. Bob Melvin was very much old school to the newer school that the Padres were dealing with. And A.J. Preller likes being hands-on. But Bob Melvin did a good job. Now, he was part of that collapse in 2023. I think a lot of that had to do with some of the players in that organization at the time. But he didn't get fired. He left. He went to San Francisco. So then they promoted Mike Shildt, or they hired him out of the front office. And Mike Shildt, I thought, has done a good job. I think all of these hires, I mean, even though he's had 5 different managers as the general manager of the San Diego Padres, I mean, honestly, there's only one that was kind of a swing and a miss in terms of a hire. He's hired 4. One of them was going to be on a terrible team. That's a wash. Jace Tingler was a miss. Bob Melvin was fine. And Mike Shildt was good. And Mike Shildt retired. It's not like he did a bad job and they fired him. He went 90 games twice. So It's not as bad as what it sounds like, but those are all facts. He's going to be hiring his sixth manager. It's going to be his hiring of his fifth, but it's going to be the sixth manager that the Padres have had under AJ Preller. It is going to be the fifth manager that Manny Machado and Fernando Tatis Jr. have had, and it is going to be yet another manager going away after just 2 seasons. It's hard to build camaraderie, consistency when you have this many changes. And the last time, we've been talking about this. I graduated college and started working at this station in 2017. I have seen now 4 different managers since I graduated college. Since I started working for the Padres flagship station, I've seen 4 different managers. We've been through this so many times. I can't tell you how many press conferences we've covered. Which, by the way, we'll have a press conference tomorrow. AJ Preller is going to talk about tomorrow at 10 o'clock, commercial-free, during our show, airing it live, talking about Mike Shildt retiring and where they go from here. I think it'll be part of his end-of-the-season press conference, too. Maybe that's why they were waiting for this. That will be tomorrow at 10 in the morning. Got to hear what he's got to say. We will be airing that live commercial-free tomorrow at 10 in the morning during our show. But as much as we sit there and go hey, look, he's had all these managers. Some of them, I agree with Sam. There's some extenuating circumstances for some of these managerial hires. And so now you got another one. I can't blame all of this on AJ Preller. There was a couple of things that have been said now in the national media. Kevin Acee, and we're going to get to this in a second. Kevin Acee said something very interesting on Foul Territory today when discussing Mike Shildt and why he retired, or maybe why he retired, and what might be maybe a warning sign for the next manager of the San Diego Padres. What did Kevin Acee say on Foul Territory? We'll get to it when we come back on the Braden Surprenant Show, San Diego's #1 sports station, 97 through the Fan. This hour, 97 to the fans, brought to you by our local Kia dealers. Visit kia.com to discover a movement that inspires. We got to get to our sports thread in just a little bit. We're going to try to do that maybe in the 1 o'clock hour, the beginning of the 1 o'clock hour. We'll see how we can put this together. But we got a lot to talk about when it comes to Mike Shildt not being the manager of the Padres anymore. He retired. We're talking about candidates and everything like that. We're going to get more information on AJ Preller tomorrow when he meets with the media. We will be airing that press conference live on 97 through the Fan and on the YouTube pages tomorrow at 10 in the morning, 10 a.m. Set your reminders, your calendars, whatever you want to do to know that we will be airing and hosting it commercial free in the 10 a.m. hour tomorrow. The AJ Preller press conference. If you want to join the show today, 833-288-0973, 833-288-0973 is the phone line. Who would you like to see become the Padres manager? We put a poll out there. 266 votes in our poll on YouTube. Who would you like to see as the new Padres manager? 49% of you have said Ruben Niebla. 22% of you have said Benji Gill. 16% Yadi Molina. 12% have said Mark DeRosa. If there's anybody else you would like, I see a lot of people putting Albert Pujols' name. You can throw it in the YouTube chat. Or you can give us a call, 833-288-0973, 833-288-0973. Okay, couple of things. We haven't heard yet, but we're going to right now. Some of the national takes of Mike Shildt retiring as the manager of the San Diego Padres. Now, it is probably one of the bigger stories in sports going on today. Kevin Acee of the San Diego Union Tribune joined Foul Territory earlier today to discuss Mike Shildt retiring. And they asked him about some reasons why. And here is one of the reasons why Kevin Acee believes that Mike Shildt did, in fact, retire and what it means potentially for the next candidate that might be the next San Diego Padres manager. Here's Kevin Acee on Foul Territory.
What is your reaction to this news when you found out about it?
Be careful how I answer that. I wasn't entirely shocked. Look, there's always many layers to a story, but I want to make sure that I make it clear that I believe it is 100% true. The things that Mike said, he seemed weary. He seemed, I don't know if burnt out was something that I would have said before, but now it certainly makes sense. It's a demanding job. I have never covered a baseball manager who lives the every single game the way that Mike Shildt does. And, you know, working for AJ Preller is and I'm not saying that it's not demanding to work in any organization and have one of these 30 jobs, but working for AJ Preller is demanding. There's a lot of pressure. And so I want to make clear that, like, if I believe that Mike is telling the absolute truth about this had worn him down. So that's where we're at.
Worn him down being the manager of the San Diego Padres. It's a lot of interesting comments right there from Kevin Acee, Frank.
Oh, absolutely. And I mean, being a manager of a Major League Baseball team is going to wear you down. But under AJ Preller, who's so just in and out, there's so much stuff going on. I could see it being a little bit more tiring under AJ.
Yeah, I could see the burnout. Again, it did mention, like, he retired as a Padres manager. Is he retiring from being a manager in general? I mean, from what we've been told, it sounds like he's kind of done with a lot of different things of being a manager, like what it takes, like with fan reaction and answering the media every day, and, you know, the grind of being a major league manager. And that could be part of the deal. Other reactions throughout Major League Baseball. Let's talk about what Jake Peavy said on MLB Network earlier today, reacting to the news that Mike Shildt has retired.
General thoughts on this happening?
Yeah, surprised by it, because what I saw him do is take a team
that felt like they were sort of afloat over the last 2 years and galvanize them and bring them together.
Absolutely.
They played some really good baseball. And look, they had some injuries down the stretch. Obviously, the loss of Jason Adam and Laureano in the postseason hurt them a little bit. But I thought he did a really nice job. A lot of big personalities there. They didn't hit a lot of home runs, yet they still won games. And so I thought he did an excellent job. Now, remember, he was in St. Louis previously, and one of the word on the street then was that there was a little bit of a clash with the analytics, with the front office and everything else. So my initial thought went to, I'm shocked by this, but I wonder, does this mean that there was something that wasn't working relationally in between the front office and himself?
Okay, and Jake, a former outstanding pitcher with the Padres. Now you're still with the Padres, but what can you tell us?
Well, I'll tell you, he did a fabulous job during his time there. He got really close with Peter Seidler as a special assistant and really understood the Padres of who they were and what they were about, what they needed. He brought that to San Diego and again, delivered winning as he did in St. Louis. I do think Joe Madden is on to something when he talks about how R&D and new school analytics match up with such an old school fundamentally based guy. It makes for tough conversations at times for you to jibe. And I know there was probably some of that going on.
He didn't seem to be like in his actual managing. He didn't seem like
he's an incredible. He's an incredible manager, and for that baseball ops staff, they give the manager free reign. And Shilt's making the lineup and making the moves. And you just heard Joe Madden. He makes incredible game management moves in that. And from what I know and what I did see, I thought he did a fabulous job and had this team poised and ready to win. He will find himself on his feet and get even another opportunity.
Well, we'll see if he decides to manage again. I mean, do you think this is the end of Mike Shildt managing Major League Baseball, Frank?
No,
I
I
don't
think
think so
he's going to
either.
find something else. If he needs to take a year or so off, I could see that, but I don't think he's, how old is he?
57.
Yes, he still has, I mean, if he wants to, he theoretically still has plenty left in the tank in order to go out there and manage again.
And I think he
theoretically.
If he decides to, if he gets hired by another organization this year, are you upset with Mike Shildt?
I mean, that just, all that screams that we need, that there was something bigger
problem
at play.
It's true.
That's what that screams.
I mean,
it's what, that would be exactly what Don Mattingly did. He retired as manager of the Marlins, and then said he wanted to spend time with his family, said that he needed to relax a little bit. He's getting older, this, that, and the other thing. And then takes a job as the bench coach in Toronto that same offseason, like a month later. That was a signal that there's something going on in the Marlins organization, which would be the same thing here. If he takes another job immediately, that's a sign that there's something going on.
what if he takes a Giants job? Could you imagine?
As the legendary Yogi Berra once said, it'd be deja vu all over again.
I just would look over to that dugout and wish I was managing that team over there. And that does the same speech that Bob Melvin does.
Word for word, too. That would be
Exactly.
interesting.
I don't see that being the case. I could see Mike Shildt taking a year off, maybe two, and then being like, this is boring, being retired. I need to get back into baseball. I mean, I think it's difficult for people that have done that their whole lives, right? I mean, he's been in baseball for 34 years. He's 57.
Yeah, it's been a long
It's
time.
a long
man.
time. And, it might seem like you need a break, and sometimes you do need a break. And then after the break, it's like you get hungry for it, or, spring training rolls around and you're not going to Arizona, you're not going to Florida, and you watch games on TV and you go like, I want to be back in this conversation. I think that could be something that Mike Shildt does.
Jay Ryan, MCG in the chat, what are the so blatantly obvious signs that this retirement was forced upon him?
I would love to know.
I would really want to know what those blatantly obvious signs are. If you could enlighten us in the chat instead of just making blanket statements and then disappearing.
That's right. Somebody in the chat goes, no media personnel have access to Manny to get a statement. You wonder why the media asked him the questions they did after they got eliminated.
Exactly.
They're not going to see Manny until spring training.
Mm-hmm.
I doubt he's at the press conference tomorrow. I'd be shocked if he was. So, a lot of interesting things are going to be said at this press conference tomorrow, Frank. A lot of interesting things.
Yeah.
But
I mean,
it's AJ Preller. He doesn't really tell us much.
And especially for a combined, hey, we need a new manager and end of season deal. It's going to be an interesting one, and that's going to be going on right as our show starts tomorrow. So we will have full coverage of that, commercial free, as Braden said.
That's right.
Right from the very top of our show tomorrow.
We could probably tell you everything that AJ is going to say right now.
No, because then that would mean no one's going to listen in.
He didn't say anything. 833-288-0973, 833-288-0973. When we come back, Frank and I are going to discuss what the Padres manager needs to be. And maybe we can start throwing around some ideas of the future. We talked a lot about like what this means for the Padres, plus we'll get some more national reaction when we come back on the Braden Surprenant Show, San Diego's number one sports station, 97.3 The Fan. All guests of 97 to the Fan join us via the David P. Shapiro Fan Hotline. Facing criminal charges, trust David P. Shapiro criminal defense attorneys, helping clients regain control since 2010. Visit davidpshapirolaw.com. He's Frank Marchese. I'm Braden Surprenant. Big show today, just strictly on Mike Shildt retiring as the Padres manager, which starts listing to a point of like who takes over now as manager of the San Diego Padres. Are they going to hire from within? Are they going to hire outside? First-time manager, veteran manager. I mean, I don't really like necessarily some of the candidates that Jeff Sanders put on a list. This is like first edition, right? But there are 8 teams now that need a manager in Major League Baseball. The Padres' job is the best one out of the group. Giants need one. They're the lone team to finish the 2025 season with a 500 record. The rest of the teams are below. Giants, Rockies, Nationals, Twins, Angels, Orioles, and Braves all finished well below 500. The only other team that was needing a manager was the Texas Rangers, and they have hired Skip Schumacher. Preller's going to get the best candidates to hire. So some internal options for you. And we're going to talk about this in a second. But here's the deal. Before we talk about the names of potential candidates, I think you have to kind of build what you would want the perfect manager to be for the San Diego Padres. To me, it needs to be somebody that the Padres players and their studs respect as an individual. So maybe that's a former player. I think it needs to be somebody that has managed before. I don't think you could just throw a Jace Tingler at this team and expect it to be positive. I don't think you could throw a Ryan Flaherty at this team and expect it to be positive. So I think he has to have some experience. But at the same time, like, you kind of want somebody a little bit younger. I mean, a lot of these older managers can't relate to the current players or what they're trying to do or accomplish. It's just a different animal. So to me, those are kind of the main things that I'd like to see in a new manager for the San Diego Padres. I think if it's a former player that they respect, I think you could get away with it with that particular person not being a manager before. But I do think if that's the case, they got to have a good coaching staff around them. And the players to me, like the former players to me that I think would be respected by this clubhouse that could be a manager, guys like Yadier Molina, guys like Albert Pujols, guys like Mark DeRosa. I mean, those are the players to me that could be a manager of this Padres team. But those are the only 3 guys that I would list as guys that don't have Major League Baseball managerial experience that I wouldn't mind the Padres hiring. The other one is hiring within, which would be like Ruben Niebla. I think you can throw out the managerial experience card if you bring in a guy like Ruben Niebla, because he's already part of the organization. That's how I would build it out. Frank, you got to find a manager for the Padres. What are the criteria you would like to see to get this team from a 90-win team now over the last 2 years to a team that can win a National League pennant? What is the manager you're looking to hire?
Experience, especially postseason experience. There were 2 names that I saw on the MLB.com. There was an MLB.com list of who's available, who just left jobs, who got fired over the course of the season. There were 2 names that stuck out to me as veteran managers who not only have postseason experience, but managers that have won rings. That would be Brian Snitker, former manager of the Braves, and Davey Martinez, former manager of the Washington Nationals. Now, you may quip and say, oh, the Washington Nationals, they stink. Right, they have no one. But Davey Martinez has won a World Series with the Washington Nationals. Brian Snitker, for everything that went wrong with the Braves this year as far as injuries plaguing the worst possible players at the worst possible times, for their success. Brian Snitker is a very good manager. And for me being in the position that I'm in working here, I've been able to go into the Braves clubhouse while they're here and string for Atlanta radio to get them Brian Snitker sound. Snitker is a very, very good, very, very upfront and very real manager. He's not going to sugarcoat anything. If the team plays bad, they're going to play. He's going to tell you. I would like either one of those two to come in and manage this team. As far as Ruben Niebla is concerned, I believe that is the one and only case of first-time manager that would be acceptable, because he's been here, he's been in the organization, he knows these players, and they know him, and they know what he's going to try to do. That could also be a reason to kind of say, maybe not with him, because if you're looking for different voices, if you're looking for a different way of leading the team, hiring somebody from within is not the way you want to go with that. So I think the fact that he's been here works for and against Ruben Niebla. I think the best option would be to manage from outside, to hire somebody from outside that has experience in the postseason, that has pedigree with managing good teams and getting success. And I believe those two guys fit the bill for this team.
You said Snitker and who?
Snitker and Davey Martinez.
Davey Martinez,
who got fired from Washington.
I don't like Brian Snitker as a manager of this team because of they was having issues with Acuna and stuff like that. And I don't want to, you know what? I just don't think it would work here. Plus, he's not leaving Atlanta.
No, I know
he's going to be part of Atlanta.
I know he's already accepted a job in their front office, but that hasn't stopped former managers before.
Right.
So.
I just don't think he's going to. Dave Martinez is okay. I think he's an okay hire. I like Martinez. I mean, he won with less.
Yeah.
In Washington. I mean, what would it be like if he actually had resources and everything like that?
Soto, Strasburg, Scherzer was on that team. So, I mean, he's won. He's
won with major personalities too.
Yes.
I mean, he had to deal with Juan Soto and as you mentioned, and Max Scherzer and all of that stuff. So those are all players that are equivalent to some of the guys that the Padres have right now. So I think you need to have, but you have to have somebody that they respect. You have to have somebody that they respect. And the thing is, it's like people hear the experience thing and everybody starts talking about Bruce Bochy ain't coming back. First of all, that's not the case. Second of all, he hasn't been able to relate to the younger players. I got that from a lot of people that cover the Texas Rangers. You know, they had a lot of cliques in the clubhouse because they had the young guys that were getting tired of Bochy running out, guys like Marcus Semien every day who was playing hurt and didn't understand when Marcus Semien was playing all the time. I mean, it wasn't. There was a lot of rifts in the clubhouse in Texas. I mean, eventually, these guys aren't going to be there all the time. To me, Bochy's done managing Major League Baseball, in my opinion. He's 70 years old. He lives in Nashville now. Go enjoy his life. But I see a lot of, you go through some of the candidates that Jeff Sanders put out, like A.J. Ellis, right? Internal option. A.J. Ellis has been with the Padres organization for a couple of years now. Mm-hmm. Clayton Kershaw's former personal catcher has spent the entirety of his playing career with the Padres, latching on to the front office after playing his last season with the Padres in 2018. Latest role was a special assistant to the Major League staff and baseball ops, allowing him to interact with both the big league team and the minors. I don't know how I feel about it. Like if A.J. Ellis, I go through some of these names, right? Mm-hmm. A.J. Ellis gets announced as the Padres manager tomorrow. You excited about it?
I don't know if I'm excited.
Are you excited about it? Are you sitting there going that's the guy that's going to get us to the World Series? Is that your reaction?
I don't know if I would be excited about it. I would be content with it. I'd be like, okay, we can.
You don't want to be content anymore, though. You want to be the team that makes it to the top level. You want to be the team, like the email that John Seidler sent out. Just making the playoffs isn't good enough for us anymore. We want to win a World Series. So you got to be thinking, is this guy you're 100% confident in can take you to the World Series? AJ Ellis, yes or no?
No.
No, absolutely not. I'm sure he could be a great manager. He's not the guy. Brian Esposito, former catcher, reached the majors. He's 46 years old, managed at different levels in the Pirates system before joining the Padres staff in 2022. Shildt's catching coach, game strategy assistant before assuming the bench coach duty in 2025. Don't mind it.
Yeah, but again, if you're looking for a completely different organizational look,
I don't think they need something completely different.
Well, no, I mean, I don't mean I mean like a managing style, like a different way of doing things, having a different voice and not just have the same voice coming from a different person. If that's what you're looking for, then I mean, it doesn't really matter whether or not Esposito or Niebla are qualified to do it. If that's not what you're looking for, then it makes no sense to hire from within.
I think they're gonna. I think they can hire from within because I think you can make the minor adjustments while keeping the status of what you like about the organization intact. I mean, it's not like the Padres have been a losing organization the last 6 years.
No,
they've been a winning organization. They've been in the playoffs 4 of the last 6 years. They've won 90 games each of the last 2 years. You don't want that to change too much, and maybe because there's a lot of times where you have coaches that are part of the staff that don't 100% agree eye to eye and will change and do a couple of different things. Not every one of the coaches that coach for Mike Shildt think exactly like Mike Shildt.
And again, this was another thing that would lead to hiring from within being somewhat acceptable would be that this was not a firing. This was not a firing due to poor performance. This was a retirement after back-to-back 90-win seasons, something that this team cannot say they've done too many times in their franchise history. So that's one reason why you would be okay with hiring from within in this particular instance.
Brian Esposito gets hired tomorrow. Are you excited about the Padres winning a World Series?
No.
Mark Loretta, great Padre, current special assistant to Padres CEO Eric Grupner, former Padres second baseman, bench coach of the Cubs in 2019, joined the Padres front office in 2022. 15-year career included pairing a .335 batting average, .886 OPS, 16 homers as a first-time All-Star with the Padres in 2004. Mark Loretta gets announced as the Padres manager tomorrow. Do you think you're winning a World Series?
No.
I don't think so either. I think Mark Loretta's a great guy. I think Mark Loretta's doing a great job being part of the organization. It's great. He's not the guy you're looking for. Out of all the internal candidates, I think it comes down to 2 that are interesting. One is Ruben Niebla.
Mm-hmm.
He's here. He's a pitching coach. There's a chance that you will lose him if you don't hire him to be the head coach or the manager of the San Diego Padres. He was next kind of in line to get a managerial opportunity. I think you can run it back with Ruben Niebla, make a couple adjustments on some things. I think you could be okay with it. I think that would be the safe play for the Padres, would be Ruben Niebla. I could get a little excited about Ruben Niebla getting an opportunity to be a manager. I can. Out of the internal candidates, he's one. The other one is interesting is Scott Service, special assistant in baseball operations and player development. Didn't realize he was. Service spent the 2025 season behind the scenes with the Padres after he was fired by the Mariners in 2024. Went .680 and .642, but made the playoffs just once in 9 years in Seattle. Service was on the Padres' radar when they hired Green for the 2016 season, and the Rangers' senior director of player personnel when Preller was in the Texas front office. There's the connection you need. There it is. I think Scott Service, again, would be a safe choice. I don't think it'd be a terrible choice. He's been there. He's done that. Only made the playoffs one time. A lot of those Mariners teams were okay. They weren't like the Mariners team that they have now. And I think at that point, it was like he'd been here long enough in Seattle. It's time for a little bit of a change, maybe a change of scenery. I think it would be a safe play, but I don't necessarily think it would be a move that gets you excited about winning a World Series, Frank.
No. And again, I feel as though you're going to find out a lot about the Padres and what their plan, what they see and value in this team by what they decide to do. Whether or not they think they just need whether they need a voice and philosophy change, or whether or not they just need to continue on what they're doing right now. If they feel as though they need to just continue on, it'll be a hire from within. And I think Ruben Niebla, if you feel as though he's going to leave, if you think he's going to leave, Niebla is the obvious choice. If you think you need a new voice, if you think you need a new way of doing things, it's hiring from outside.
External options.
Yes.
Rocco Baldelli is on this list. Former top prospect who went on to play 7 years in the pros. He's 44 years old. He was fired after a 70-92 season after his 7th year as Minnesota's manager. Went 505 and 511, won as many as 101 games in 2019, took the Twins to the postseason 3 times. I feel like the Padres could do better than Rocco Baldelli.
I agree.
Ryan Flaherty is going to be named a lot because of his time spent here in the Padres organization and his connection to Manny Machado. Big leaguer for 8 years. Began his post-playing career as an advanced scout and development coach with the Padres. Advanced as high as a bench coach under Bob Melvin. Interviewed for the job and ultimately went to Shildt in 2024. Flaherty has spent the last 2 seasons as Craig Counsell's bench coach with the Cubs. No, thank you. He would be a first-time manager.
And again, just because you have a connection with Manny doesn't mean that you are going to, 1, be a good hire, or 2, be a hire in the first place. You know who else has a very good connection with Manny that would probably fit pretty well here? Buck Showalter. Buck Showalter's also in his mid-70s. He's not going to be a manager.
No, thank you. I'll pass on Flaherty.
Just because you have a connection to Manny does not mean that you are in the conversation to be a manager here.
They list Nick Hundley as a potential deal. It sounds like he's really high up to potentially be hired as the Giants manager.
First-time manager.
But it's a first-time manager. I know he's a Padres former catcher. First-time manager. No thanks. Brandon Hyde, fired in 2025 after disappointing 15-28 start in Baltimore. 52-year-old, ultimately went 421 and 492 in 7 years in Baltimore, winning the AL East once with a 101 season in 2023 and going 91 and 71 in 2024. They have not won a playoff game under Hyde. No thanks.
I mean, for Hyde, you can make the argument of young roster, couldn't handle a young roster. This is a more mature veteran roster. You can make that argument. Won the division. They severely underachieved this year. You can make the argument. You can make the case that he could come here.
These next 2 are kind of interesting. Albert Pujols is not a guy that has done it before. He began serving a 10-year, $10 million personal service contract.
Artie Moreno will write him a blank check to manage the Angels.
Right, but that doesn't mean he will. If you're Albert Pujols, you get offered a job to manage the Angels or manage the Padres, who would you rather manage? I would take less money to manage the Padres.
But he also has no link here. He played more than half of his career.
What does that mean?
In Anaheim.
What does that mean? Would you want to jump on a sinking ship? Seriously. I mean, what? So you manage it for 3 years, they suck and he gets fired? No. I mean, like, who would you rather manage? The Angels or the Padres? Who gives a bleep if he played there or not? I'm just saying, like, it's not.
I'm saying that also means that he's built a connection with Artie Moreno. It'll probably be a little bit easier for Moreno to bring him in and convince him than it will be for the Padres to do that.
I don't think so. You want convincing? Here's Fernando Tatis Jr. and Manny Machado, and we're a team that's won 90 games the last 2 years.
It's because you have
here
all
the
the
Angels.
Pieces doesn't mean you know what to do with
Here
them.
are the Angels, who have been a circus since 2002 when they won a World Series, and we have failed to get Mike Trout more than 3 at-bats in a postseason, and Albert Pujols knows that firsthand because he was on those teams. Who would you rather manage? I mean, like, just because you have a connection, it's like, he knows how much of a circus that place is. But to me, is he a guy that you would want to have as a manager of the Padres in the first year? You would have to find a way to buy him out, by the way, too, because you would have to pay for him to leave Anaheim because he's still under contract with the Angels.
Yeah, that would also mean no.
You have to pay for him. You'd have to buy him out of his contract to do it.
No shot. Sorry. As much as I like Albert Pujols, I thought he was a fantastic player. no shot.
I'd rather have Yadier Molina, to be honest with you.
Yes. If you're going to go outside for a first-time manager, Yadier Molina is the only option that you have. For a first-time manager outside of the organization, he is the only option. He is a guy that is going to demand respect the instant that he gets in there. And he's also old enough to where superstar players like Manny, like Fernando, are still young to him. So it's not like an age difference thing either. I think they will fall in line under Yadier Molina if they decide to go that way.
One more name on this list. We'll talk about it when we come back. Plus, we got to get to today's sports thread and then more conversation about Mike Shildt retiring as manager of the San Diego Padres. Final hour of the Braden Surprenant Show, San Diego's #1 sports station, 97 through the Fan.
Hey, it's Gravy here, and you know many things about daily life annoys me. I finally found an outlet for all that annoyance. It's called The Daily Gripe, and I do it during the Gravy Show, weekdays at 6 p.m. on 97.3 The Fan.
Hey, this is Mike Nola Jr. from Westwood One. My dad and I are here every week to get you ready for Monday Night Football. We'll have exclusive game previews and interviews, plus updates on the big news from the weekend. Then it's the exclusive play-by-play action with Kevin Harlan, Hall of Famer Kurt Warner, and the entire Westwood One team. Join us every week for Monday Night Football.
Right here on 97.3 The Fan.
All right, gentlemen, this is Emmett Smith on behalf of the Pen, and I've got the perfect play. Run straight to your doctor's office for a life-changing gift, because when prostate cancer is caught early, it's up to 99% treatable, and one blood test might be all it takes. And now through November, the Pen is donating to the Prostate Cancer Foundation for select purchases. Talk about a great play.
From September 1st to November 30th, Depend is donating 25 cents to the Prostate Cancer Foundation for Depend Shield's Guards Real Fit products purchased in the U.S. up to a maximum of $300,000 or in Mississippi.
This is the story of the one. As a maintenance supervisor at a manufacturing facility, he knows keeping the line up and running is a top priority. That's why he chooses Grainger. Because when a drive belt gets damaged, Grainger makes it easy to find the exact specs for the replacement product he needs. And next day delivery helps ensure he'll have everything in place and running like clockwork. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Pretty much for doing anything. I couldn't ride a bicycle. You don't have your life because you don't have your mobility.
So when Patrick heard about QC Kinetics and their non-invasive regenerative treatments for pain, no waiting, he called them immediately.
There's no downtime. There's no rehab. That was the tipping point for me. I didn't have to take any drugs. I didn't have to rehab.
Before considering surgery, check out QC Kinetics all-natural.
I'm mad at the mouse again, Frank. Mad at the mouse. That damn mouse.
What did the mouse do
this time?
Braden Surprenant this time.
Well, the stupid mouse decided to make our game 2 weeks ago for this Saturday at 11 in the morning, the TCU game, which means I can now no longer attend said game.
Yeah.
Which is irritating. It's irritating.
Hold on. You can no longer attend because you did not want to take a layover flight in Atlanta, fly back to Dallas.
That became, well, we were going to do that, and then it became $1,000. So no, I don't want to spend $1,000.
I could understand that.
I don't want to spend $1,000 to fly to Atlanta on Friday night.
Yeah, no, I don't
have a
blame you on
2-hour layover in Atlanta, and then fly to Dallas and get there at 8:38 in the morning to watch them play Baylor.
I withdraw my objection.
Unless you got $1,000 laying around, you just throw my way.
I barely have 1,000 pennies laying around, dude.
That's rough.
Let alone dollars.
Let alone dollars. They have, you can have dollars that many. You can have many of them.
I know, right?
I didn't know you can have that many.
I've only seen that many doll hairs before.
But then makes it worse. TCU is unveiling brand new helmets this weekend. I hate that mouse.
So do I. However,
he has his moments.
However, the
mouse has his moments. When it comes to his sports entities that he owns, I dislike the mouse. There's some other things I dislike about the mouse too, but now I'm extra mad at the mouse.
That mouse allowed me to watch the Islanders go 0-3 to start the year this morning.
Anaheim Ducks won.
That's good. That does.
They brought the duck back. Have you seen the duck when they win?
Yes.
They put him on the little drum.
Yep.
7-6 victory in overtime.
I believe the Quackers played tonight. Do they not?
They might. They're 1-1 to start the year. Goals did well on Friday.
They spanked Coachella Valley.
How about that?
5-0.
Aztecs did very well over the weekend too. We haven't had time to talk about them. That was going to be like our first hour of the show.
Oh, and we had our first ever over the weekend. I believe it was on Saturday. We had our first ever, speaking of hockey, our first ever Ice Age game. The Mammoth beat the Predators 3-2 in overtime to take the first ever Ice Age game.
There you go. Go Aztecs. Frog hating on a mouse. Yep. Yeah, I am. I'm hating on the mouse. I'm hating on the Frog, too, for the lackluster, undisciplined, underprepared performance that I've seen too many times in the middle of the season. I mean, this is like the typical... I told Ron and La Mesa they're not going to be able to win because they don't win there, and they're ill-prepared, and they were ill-prepared again. Now, I don't think Sonny Dykes is not a good coach because he's a good family man. That's insane. That is insane. I got to read that. I got to read that before we get to the sports thread, and we're going to talk more about the Mike Shildt deal. I have to read how dumb this is.
We'll get to Penn State football tomorrow. We're doing a lot of things tomorrow.
I'm going to tell you right now, TCU football fans all want James Franklin to be their head coach now all of a sudden. This was written on a TCU message board today.
Hold on, let me get my...
This is crazy.
God, I hate this.
Yeah, let's look at Frank's reaction.
Here we go. I'm ready.
Quote, Sonny is too good of a husband and father, ... and not good enough of a football coach. Good guys aren't good football coaches. I want my football coach divorced and estranged from his family, eating, drinking, breathing football, watching film every night until 3 a.m. Our football program is what happens when a present husband and father also tries to run a football team. Something has to give. You can't be a good family man and have a good football team. Just not possible. Sonny, go enjoy your family. TCU, go find a new football coach. I'm sorry. What? Are you kidding me? That is insane. That is crazy. That wins. We might have to have a new segment on the show, Frank. That is called Message Board Idiot of the Day. Cole Brooks. I mean, he's got a point. If you point to Urban Meyer, come on. Come on. Brutal. Absolutely brutal. was a terrible football weekend. I mean, just every one of my teams lost in like the same way. It was just so frustrating.
And also,
I was ready to throw stuff.
I had mentioned before the show, remember Friday how I said I got very upset that I did not wear my Olympian class ring?
Mm-hmm.
I didn't wear it the week before because they were on bye.
Right.
So didn't bother wearing it. I believe they're on bye this week as well.
They only have one bye. You don't have multiple buys.
Oh, well then.
You better find out who they're playing then.
Then I'm stupid. They're playing one of the South Bay teams.
I think that was like more than half of their schedule.
Yeah. They're actually playing at home for the first time in seemingly forever.
You going?
Yeah, I'm going this Friday. I did find a link, though, between me not wearing my class ring and a losing team.
Mm-hmm.
It's not linked to Olympian.
Because that might be a link to us, actually.
Olympian spanked Castle Park. The last 2 weeks, how has Cathedral Catholic done?
Terrible. That was the most embarrassing loss in our school's history on Friday. I wanted to scream, but I got yelled at by parents, so I guess I get to deal with that. It's part of the territory.
Which is about the same thing.
We had parents saying that how much we suck as a staff. And it's just like, I mean, I try my best every week. I don't get paid a lot to do the job. I try to support my high school. And it is what it is.
Didn't most of your starters also get hurt up at De La
We
Salle?
had 15 starters out.
So you play
Friday.
So you played Point Loma with a backup team, effectively.
We also don't have a backup quarterback. Our safety had to play quarterback. Defense played well.
That's funny. There was another school
well.
that had to do that too.
Yeah.
Hold on.
I had never seen. We started the second half having to kick from our own 12-yard line because of penalties at halftime. We had a penalty arguing a non-pass interference call, and we got penalized because we were, quote, on the field at halftime. It was the dumbest thing I've ever heard in my life. The dumbest thing I'd ever heard in my life. It was brutal.
By the way, breaking away from this for just a second, a friend of mine, a personal friend of mine, lives in Myrtle Beach. Just welcomed his third kid into the world.
Congratulations!
So congratulations.
Well, that's better than the other news that you usually drop of somebody dying.
I just saw the picture now. Sent it 5 minutes ago. Congratulations on welcoming your third youngin into the world.
Yeah. I'm so sickened by the loss that we had on Friday. I'm never not going to be sickened by that loss. Sickened by how poorly we played.
Not as sick as one of the spectators.
And then I had to watch TCU do the exact same thing on Saturday.
Not as sickened as one of the spectators for Texas A&M.
But that's the thing. Like, what people don't understand, it's like, nobody ever calls to congratulate me if we win. Nobody. Nothing. Because nobody likes us. So that's the case. I had like 3 people. I had somebody call me as soon as we lost. Call me to ask, like, just to rub it in. I'm like, bro, I'm a high school football coach. I got 15 to 18-year-old kids. You know what I don't do is call people when they lose. Like, we got Scripps Ranch this week. If we beat Scripps Ranch, you know what I'm not going to do, Frank? I'm not going to call my buddies that went to Scripps and talk smack. I'm just not going to do it. I had one of my dad's high school friends' sons went to Point Loma.
You're not going to rub it in.
I haven't heard from that kid in like months. Guy texts me the next day immediately. I'm like, bro, what? Do you think he would have texted me if we would have beat Point Loma? No, absolutely not. It's crazy. But that's the territory. I mean, that's what I sign up for coaching at my high school. When you're at, place like us, expected to win.
It's like you're not TPing your neighbor's house either. Or was that kid that kid was with
that's Scripps. Yeah.
Scripps. Gotcha. Never mind.
100%. I mean, that was not a good team that we played. And we lost. They played hard, though. I'm going to tell you right now. They played their ass off. They played their ass off and wanted to win as a team. I loved it.
If it makes you feel any better, playing a safety at quarterback, Oklahoma State played a wide receiver at quarterback this week. So
former TCU guy.
If that makes you feel any better.
That's right. That guy was part of our program. Former TCU guy. I mean, just offense wasn't very good. Defense played well. Blocked the field goal. That was fun.
We saw that.
Yeah. But anyway, it was just miserable. I was miserable all week. That I'll never not think about how bad that loss was. I mean, that team has just inferior talent to ours, which is so frustrating. But you know what they did? They had heart and they wanted to play, and they played really well.
So I know. So I'll never wish you luck again because you lost the De La Salle after
Well,
that.
the De La Salle loss was going to happen.
And then I'll never not wear my Olympian ring again on
Yeah, you're gonna
weeks
have
that
to
you
wear
won't
that.
play because you're 0-2 now when I don't wear that.
I did get to see, though, Friday was great because I did get to see Noah, who was the kid that had the bad injury.
Yes.
And the news was great
Good, he's
about
doing
like
good,
his
good.
Yeah, he was there. It was cool. It was the first time I got to see him. And I felt I had to, like, he's the kid that like we always give crap to, like even when he does like a lot of great things, because he always wants like praise. And so he would be like he had a great block against St. Francis on a kick return for a touchdown. And he goes like, "Oh, did you see my block? You see that started the kick return." I'm like, "Yeah, it's all right." What? He got a pick against Helix, and he kind of tripped after the fact, and he got he's like, "You see my pick, coach?" I said, "Yeah."
Saw that trip too.
You should have scored. Oh, I just can't win with you guys. So when he went down on against, it was such a bad. I was in tears. I mean, he's like one of my favorite kids to coach. He's a great young man. And I was in tears. It sucked. I could see him for the whole week, and I saw him at the game. I was so excited to see Noah at the game. It was cool that he got to be back out there, and he gave me the update. And things are going to go well. There's something with his break that was better, and it sounds like in a couple of weeks. Because I can't give the details, obviously, of him medically, but in a couple of weeks, he's going to get reevaluated, and he can start learning how to walk again.
Awesome.
Which is part of the deal. Like, he's got to learn how to walk.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And then he's going to be able to hopefully get going for next season. So that's going to be great. That's
Very
where
good.
it matters.
How was that flight? I'm sure right after surgery,
he flew
shook around on a plane. That probably was pretty good.
He says it like it wasn't. He says his leg doesn't hurt that much. It's like more of like the stitches and stuff.
Yeah.
So.
Flying for most people is brutal, but I can't imagine after having surgery on your lower leg,
right,
having to get into a plane, get on and off a plane. I could not imagine that. A fresh surgery too.
Right.
Not like, oh yeah, I'm off of surgery a couple of weeks. No, I'm off of surgery a couple hours.
Yeah, hopefully he can get back to school. I mean, that's another accomplishment, right?
Yeah.
Had a little scooter he was scooting around on, which was great. So, fun stuff.
Go SD Aztecs in the chat.
Yeah, coach have a 4.0. He could have had a 4.2, maybe 4.3. I did, and I had to tell Noah because then I had to tell him on the thing. I was like, "Hey, we're just giving you crap, dude. You're doing a great job." So I felt bad about it, but I mean, he's like the type of kid that makes me come back to coach more, stuff like that. Anyway. 833-288-0973, 833-288-0973. John in North County, you're on the Braden Surprenant Show. What's going on, John?
Brandon?
Braden is here. What's going on, John?
He draws the foul. Hey, Brandon. Calling from North County.
Mm-hmm.
My kids were Don alumni.
Nice. Love it.
But I'm going to disagree with you on your thoughts of last Friday's game.
Okay.
Considering all our injuries. But going back to the Padres, ever any thought about Trevor Hoffman being a pitching coach?
Trevor Hoffman being a pitching coach. John, appreciate the phone call. Well,
he draws the foul.
It's 2 for the 2, Brandon. Sir.
That's right. Somebody has an idea for bench this take as segments for the bad message boards. I don't know. I don't know if he would whatever. I don't know. Does Trevor Hoffman want to be a pitching coach?
That stuff kind of comes down to
do they want to do it, right? Like people are like, Tony Gwynn Jr., Tony Gwynn Jr. I'm going to say right now, Tony Gwynn Jr. wants nothing to do with coaching the Major League Baseball team.
Nope.
Nothing to do with it.
And I'm
Being
sure,
a broadcaster on its own is difficult.
I'm sure he will tell you guys very quickly coming up in about 45 minutes. No. I think that's how they're starting their show, actually.
Yeah, I will not be. He doesn't want to do it. I mean, it's funny, like the morning show was talking with like Woods, right? Like, well, what if they call you in for an interview? He's like, I'm not taking it. You wouldn't take the interview?
You kind of have to now, Bo.
Would you take the interview? First of all, they would never interview Woods or any of us. Would you take the interview to get wined and dined for 11 hours?
$100p.
You make it a PowerPoint to tell everybody how you'd fix the Padres?
I am milking that interview for all that it's worth. I'd do it for a college job. I don't know. I wouldn't do it for a baseball job. I would genuinely put up a reason as to why you guys are doing this, why you're giving me this time. I would genuinely try to get the job, knowing full well that I'm not going to get the job.
What if you did get the job? Would you resign immediately saying you're unqualified?
Nope.
Selfish.
Nope, absolutely not. No, I'm sorry. I would be the dog in the lab coat holding the two beakers. I have absolutely no idea what I'm doing. But I would take it, go run with it.
I had somebody at the Park 101 remote be like, I think you're going to be the next Padres manager. I was like, what? Like in the future? I'm like, first of all, no, I don't know anything about baseball at that level where I have to manage major. I'm like, what makes me qualified to do? I'm a talk show host and I coach high school football. Where in the resume does it say I can manage a baseball team?
What do you think of Jackson Merrill's swing path here?
Yeah, well, it looks good, I guess.
Yeah, it looks. It's
I
going
could talk about
through
things
the,
that
it's
I
going
would want
through
to
the
do.
zone and look good to me.
Folks in Rod's office have nominated Rod to manage the Padres. I vote for Rod. I'm gonna put my hand up. I vote for Rod to be the Padres
I
manager.
would vote for Rod, but Rod, I love you, but if we're talking who's going to get the money, I want that money.
Rod, you're going to have to hire Frank to be some type of assistant to the assistant manager. Coach Frog, says Nate Taylor. That would be hilarious if someone called me Coach Frog on the football team. That would be hilarious. All right. We didn't get to our sports thread. We're going to get to that when we come back and then finish up what we need to say about Mike Shildt retiring. Finish up the Braden Surprenant show. San Diego State Sports Station 97.3 The Fan. 123 on a Monday. Lower himself to the Padres. Is that what you said, Frank?
That is not even
remember you saying
remotely
that.
close to what I said.
I can't remember you saying that. I don't remember you saying that. Albert Pujols thinking the Angels' job is better for Albert Pujols, and therefore it is a way better coaching job.
No, I
That's
said
not what he said.
I said that because Albert Pujols played with the Angels and he and Artie Moreno have that relationship, that it would be easier for the Angels to hire him than the Padres.
Want to give us an update on the YouTube poll? Who would you like to see as the Padres' new manager? We only gave you 4 options. If you want somebody else, you could throw it in.
I'm going to end the YouTube poll. Actually, I just did.
You can end the music on the YouTube.
Oh, for God's sake!
I got it.
No, I got it. Oh, you just turned it back on, you goofball McGundy. All right,
go ahead.
48% of you said Ruben Niebla. 24% of you said Benji Gill. 16 Yadier Molina. Mark DeRosa at 12%. And I saw we couldn't put another because it limits us to 4 options.
Okay.
Poll is complete. Thank you to the 338 people who voted.
A lot of people
on said poll.
Mm-hmm. What was the most popular name we saw in the chat today? Bruce Bochy, probably.
Oh, God. Yeah, that would probably have been it.
He's not doing it.
Oh, he ain't.
I also heard it was kind of a circus in Texas last year. Anyway, I got to say, as miserable as the weekend was for all of the football teams that I watch and root for, I finished the weekend out great yesterday, Frank. You want to know why?
Your Chargers won?
They're not my Chargers. I was almost going to dance on their grave today, but then, Miami is... Elo's Dolphins out-chargered the Chargers yesterday. The Dolphins score with like 40-something seconds left in the game, and they still can't keep the Chargers off the scoreboard. Mike McDaniel's going to get fired. Has he been fired yet today?
No, he is not. He's not.
How does he still have a job?
No idea.
How does he have the job? I will say, they might start being my Patriots. Patriots won. I like the Patriots without Bill Belichick and Tom Brady. Drake May, money.
You were so excited yesterday because you knew that you got to wake up today and hear a sports thread.
I know. We're going to get to that in the next break. Executive decision. Sorry, Scrappy. That's going to be the lead-in. Hey, you know what? Morning Show does it with the Reindl Report. We'll finish our show with that.
Way to just completely
steamroll
that wonderful transition there.
Couple of things. Okay. Saved on Sunday with homemade cheesesteaks. I posted them on my Instagram story. So good. I had never done it before. This is what I did. I went to the butchery in Del Mar. A little bit more expensive. Okay, it's a little expensive. I'm going to tell you right now, the butcher there was so stoked when I talked to him. How can I help you? Well, I'm thinking about making some cheesesteaks. What kind of ribeye you recommend? He was like, oh, that's sick. Awesome. Here, follow me. Shows me that this is going to be the best bang for your buck, ribeye-wise. I'm like, all right, cool. I'll take 2 of those. And I'm like, can you thinly slice them? He's like, oh, brother, of course. I thought you'd never ask. Guy's so excited to slice some meat, dude. Guy was so fired up. I was so excited to I was like, all right, this guy's great. This guy's buying into my cheesesteak night. Got some white American, got some yellow American. Got a griddle, flat top at my house. Put butter. I went and got, Vaughn's had like sourdough deli rolls that were like a foot long.
Mm-hmm.
So I bought a couple of those. Put some butter and some garlic on there. Awesome. Griddle, butter, raw onions. Slap the meat down. Let it cook a little bit to brown. I used the Blanco seasoning from Meat Church. Delicious. Started chopping on the griddle. Throw the cheese on there. Put the bread on top. Slap, bang, on the plate. Amazing. I'd have to say, the people at my house that lived in Philly said it was probably better than most Philly places. And I said it. I'm calling you out, Philly. Taking a lot of L's, Philly. Took an L with the Eagles back-to-back weeks. Took the L's with the Phillies, and now you're taking L's with cheesesteaks, big dog. Are you with or without onions on a cheesesteak?
I'm without, usually.
I like it. I like it with. I did a little Chipotle dressing on there, too, on the side of it. It was good, but it didn't. Of course I toasted the bread, Nate. Of course I toasted the bread. Come on. Come on. You got to go look at it on Instagram. That was the other thing. Here's the other deal. Tomorrow, I'm in a little bit of dilemma, Frank.
Mm-hmm.
My friend that you know very well, she went to FIU.
Florida Worldwide.
Yes. They're playing Western Kentucky, which is my boy's place. And it's Big Red. And Big Red's wearing the Zombieland uniforms. We're planning on all watching the game tomorrow. I think at Pitchers. Who do I root for? Florida Worldwide or my beloved Big Red with the Zombieland? How do I not root for Zombieland?
It's a very easy answer to that question.
I think she would say if he knows what's good for him, he would root for FIU.
That's about what I was going to say, yeah.
Yes, but it's Big Red. Maybe it's a win-win for me.
Listen,
maybe I can root for both. Big Red.
You'd kind of be stupid.
Nate Taylor goes, draw the line right now. Big Red. Michelle goes, Florida Worldwide if you want to keep that ship going. A lot of Big Red votes. Lot of Big Red votes.
And again,
the only one that has said FIU has been the women in the chat.
It's going to be, by the way, we're calling it Florida Worldwide because Pitbull owns part of he bought the naming rights. So that's why we're calling it Florida Worldwide. Yeah. And until he doesn't own the football stadium anymore,
then it's going to be FIU
then
again.
It'll be FIU again.
It's West Kentucky, though.
That's cool.
It's Big Red.
That's cool, dude.
It's Big Red. And he's doing the Zombieland. And my buddy bought me one of the Zombieland shirts. I'm going to debut on the show.
Remember one of the first conversations that we had on the show?
Yeah.
Who would you least want to see handing you divorce papers? And we immediately thought of Big Red.
Big Red. That would be a rough one right there.
You might make it a reality, dude. Not saying that you're not married, but I'm just saying.
He's like, I'll accept Big Red this time. That sounds like a trap. That sounds like a trap.
He's smart enough to recognize it.
That sounds like a trap.
He's smart enough to recognize it.
I've been rooting for Big Red now for so long. It's hard not to root for Big Red.
I know all three.
Plus,
all week and
but here's
all
it's
week
not
and a half, dude.
It's not.
That's
It's
tough.
not. It's not her undergrad. It's her grad school. It's different. It's different,
brother. It's
grad school is different.
The answer is Florida Worldwide.
She barely watches FIU. She watches Penn State.
It doesn't matter,
She's a
bro.
Penn State fan.
Doesn't matter.
I'm just saying. Zombieland. Big Red. Maybe we'll find out tomorrow. We got Kusa action tomorrow, though. We got football every single day for the next 50 days. It's great. It's great news. Jack and Script Ranch are the Braden Surprenant Show. What's going on, Jack?
Hey, guys. So just quick comment. Gonna miss Shildt. I felt like he had a good temperament as far as keeping it cool with the guys, but then, if he needed to get pissed and throw his glasses or get into a fight with Dave Roberts, that was awesome. So wish him well. And then as far as for a successor, I think they might be onto something by throwing your name in the hat because, you're a big picture guy with a vision, and you used to keep the coach under control back in the day. And so I don't know. Don't dismiss it. Okay. That's all I got.
Jack, appreciate the phone call.
You also know full well that you cannot punt on a Manny Machado
That's
prime
right.
year.
Cannot punt on a Manny Machado prime year. Can't punt on a Manny Machado prime year. Big Red. It's a trap. I'm walking into a trap. I'll keep you updated on how it goes tomorrow. I don't have FIU gear or West Kentucky gear, but I do have a Zombieland Big Red shirt on the way. I do have that. I will be wearing that on the show at some point. Did you want one? You should have got one. How could you not root for a team that's wearing those uniforms? I'm saying. FIU better be wearing their Miami Vice uniforms to make it the best deal.
Do I?
Oh my God! Here it is.
Do I just send you?
Here it is. Here it is. Look at the
break?
comment. Look at the comment in the chat. We got to go to break. Look at the comment in the chat. The only professional sports team is a change in coaching, and I'm listening about cheesesteaks and FIU.
Brother, we spent the first 3 hours in the show.
We talked about it for 3 hours. This is like 10 minutes. We didn't talk about it. 10 minutes. And guess what? We'll be talking about it when we come back. Sports Thread and the Padres manager, Mike Shildt, has announced his retirement. Braden Surprenant Show. Final segment coming back. All right. Well, she heard the segment, so I might be in danger tomorrow. We'll keep you updated.
Told you, dude.
I said I might. I don't know. Who knows? We'll keep you updated. We did not participate in the midday sports standoff. If you could take me down in sports trivia, you'd be qualified for a chance to win our grand prize. A trip for two to see Jerry Seinfeld in Las Vegas, including 2 tickets to the show on April 17th at the Coliseum and Caesars Palace. A 2-night stay at the Flamingo Hotel and Casino and a $100 gas card. Jerry Seinfeld returns to the Coliseum at Caesars Palace on April 17th and 18th. See Ticketmaster.com for tickets. All guests on 97 through the Fan join us via the David P. Shapiro Fan Hotline. Facing criminal charges, trust David P. Shapiro criminal defense attorneys, helping clients regain control since 2010. Visit davidpshapirolaw.com. Now, that being said, we got to get to today's sports thread. Let's get to it.
One that's always blowing up with the biggest sports takes, debates, and breaking news.
You got barbecue back there, and you didn't invite me?
Yeah, we've got that too. Welcome to the Sports Thread, where we break down the top 5 stories in sports, just like you would with your crew.
Oh, no! Disaster! What a bad idea!
No filters, no silence, just real talk. Brought to you by QC Kinetics. Stop sitting on the sidelines. QC Kinetics gets you back in the game without surgery. To learn how, visit QCkinetics.com.
All right, I did see in the chat. I got to get to this. I'll respond to it. Harry Balky says, did you catch the USD Drake game? Do we know the significance of Harry Balky? It's one of the kids that coached at Cathedral. He is now the kicker for Drake. After he spent 4 years at Benedictine, kicked the game-winning field goal for the Drake Bulldogs over the USD Toreros on Saturday.
Go. Congratulations.
He's the only that's the only successful part about that game. USD has now lost on the final play to Drake 3 years in a row. They lost on a Hail Mary at USD 2 years ago. They lost on a game-winning field goal last year. And then if it had to be anybody, the fact that it was Harry Balky, local product, I'm okay with that. Great kick, big dog. Shout out to Harry Balky.
I was going to say, I was surprised. You said you were doing the USD volleyball.
I did. I did do USD volleyball
instead
of football. USD volleyball 1-4 against Oregon State. So that's where I was. I was going to go out and watch some of the football game to see our kicker. He didn't even kick for me. He wasn't even one of our kickers. He played tight end for the Dons. And then I don't know if he kicked at Benedictine or not. I can't remember. Or if he actually played football, but now he's a kicker in his grad year. Had one more year left. Went to Drake. Is their kicker and kicked the game-winning field goal in his hometown against USD. Congrats to Harry. All right, let's get to the sports thread.
Let's do that. First of all,
number 1.
Want to hear about a wild injury story?
Sure.
The Indianapolis Colts were going about their usual Sunday morning routines ahead of their 1 p.m. Eastern Time kickoff against the Arizona Cardinals when a seemingly normal day became anything but. Backup quarterback Anthony Richardson Sr., before leaving the locker room, sustained a bizarre injury while using elastic bands to stretch for the game. The incident left Richardson with an orbital fracture, according to Coach Shane Steichen, I guess that's how you pronounce that, and required hospitalization. The specifics are murky, but the source said the incident happened when the apparatus players used to attach the warm-up bands malfunctioned, resulting in an impact with Richardson's face. Richardson was inactive for the win against Arizona and could miss more time. Right now, Riley Leonard is the primary backup. Why? This just feels so unlucky for Anthony Richardson, who has had such an unlucky career.
Yeah, that is very unlucky. Yeah, that's unfortunate news. It's tough to overcome that.
And didn't one of their safeties get knocked out?
Oh yeah,
pregame?
One of their safeties was doing his early warm-ups, and he went full speed into the tight end that was doing his own warm-ups. Almost knocked him out. Got a concussion. I saw that tweet. They had 2 tweets back to back with like Adam Schefter And somebody responded with like 2 injuries during pre-games, and somebody's like, what in the world are the warm-ups that the Colts are doing?
I mean, it's just unbelievable what happened there.
Number 2.
Penn State suffered an immediate hit to their recruiting yesterday as a slew of recruits decommitted in the aftermath of the school's decision to fire James Franklin following 12 seasons with the program. Less than an hour after Franklin was fired, 4-star 2027 recruit Keeman Spell, the number 1 recruit in the 2027 cycle and number 15 player in ESPN's Junior 300, decommitted from the Nittany Lions. 2 other ESPN Junior 300 recruits, offensive tackle Leighton Von Brandt and cornerback Gabriel Jenkins, also announced Sunday that they will be decommitting from Penn State's 2027 class upon news of the coaching change. In all, 27 kids have decommitted to Penn State since the firing of James Franklin. Big oversight by Penn State on this one.
Well, that's until they get their new coach, and whoever their new coach is about to pick up like 20 new commits that he has somewhere else. I mean, if you're Penn State and you're able to get a guy like Kurt Signetti, wouldn't you get his? I mean, you're going to get probably most of his recruiting class. So those players are not going to be there, and that's what happens. And you understand that. And you can't just hang on to a coach that you don't think is going to get the job done for you because of a couple players that you might get via signings that also are not going to be there for all 4 years in this day and age of college football. So that was expected. And here's the thing. If you're one of those players, like the guy that wanted you there is not there anymore, why would I go to that school?
Yeah, no, that's fair.
Yeah.
And have you seen the reports that Adidas had a lot to do with James Franklin's firing?
I did see that. But I don't know how true that is. Because some other Penn State reporter said it was BS. So who knows? But
rumors.
If that's where the money's coming from, maybe.
Rumor and innuendo.
Number 3.
The mass of Colorado fans spilled out of the seats onto the field after beating number 22 Iowa State, because wasn't Colorado ranked last year?
They were, yeah.
Yeah, so they've been ranked recently, so this is definitely a major underdog. It was a sight that Buffalo's coach Deion Sanders loved to see, because of course he did. It might very well lead to a reprimand, a fine, or both. Either way, it's the second straight home game with an incident involving the crowd at Folsom Field. Not only that, but a kid was actually crushed under the goalpost.
Oh, my God.
In that stampede.
Terrifying.
Can we please
it's not cool anymore.
Stop this madness.
It's not cool anymore.
It's not. It's so dumb. Stop doing it.
Number 4.
Tua Tagovailoa had a couple of things to say after a loss, leading to a 1-5 start, including having a problem with some attendance at a player-led meeting. Shortly after Miami's 29-27 loss to the Chargers, Tagovailoa, who has asked how players can refrain from feeling sorry for themselves. The Dolphins have now lost 4 games, their last 4 games this season, in which it trailed by 1 score or more in the final 2 minutes. Tagovailoa, who threw the go-ahead touchdown but also 3 interceptions, mentioned that possible changes to player-led meetings throughout the week. He said, quote, "I think it's to start with leadership in helping articulate that for the guys that what we're expecting out of guys," he said. "We're expecting this. We are getting, are we getting that? Are we not getting that? We have guys showing up to player-only meetings late, guys not showing up to player-only meetings at all. There's a lot that goes into that. We don't have to make this. Do we have to make this mandatory? Do we not have to make this mandatory?" That's a big issue as far as the culture within the team. If you have players missing player-only or player-led meetings,
it's probably not great. They're a mess down in Miami. They have been a mess. They've always been a mess. The Miami Dolphins are a mess. Anyway,
Miami Dolphins not number one.
Not number one.
Number 5.
Last one of the day.
Yes, the Big Ten is closing in on voting on a capital agreement that will infuse the league schools with more than $2 billion. It's billion with a B. There has been momentum in recent days for the deal to push forward, and the structure of the complicated agreement is coming together. A vote is expected in the near future. The framework calls for the formation of a new entity, Big Ten Enterprises, which would hold all league-wide media rights and sponsorship contracts. This is yet another glimpse into the future for college athletics, is it not?
Pro football. It's pro football. I don't think all the athletics are going to be like that. I think you're going to have a form of pro football and a form of pro basketball at the college level. That's what it's going to. They're going to ruin such a great thing. That's why they're expanding the NCAA tournament.
They are.
Aztecs not ranked in the top 25. BS.
Yeah, we'll get to that
in college
tomorrow.
basketball. We'll get that tomorrow. They did receive votes for football, though. That's kind of cool. They received one vote in football, but it was number 24 in the country. The Kentucky guy had San Diego State ranked 24th in the country.
Love Kentucky.
Love it. I've always liked Kentucky. Bourbon Trail. Great. Great for the Aztecs, apparently. Martin and Santee, you're on the Braden Surprenant show to finish off this Monday. What's going on?
It's great to talk to you to start the week with quite a surprise.
Yeah.
But I hope fandom out there realize that, Shildt, the Padres, they had 72 sellouts, this year, 90-plus wins again. And he's got the pressure of the community on us. And you see, every day in your chat, there's haters about something. He's got the world on his shoulders of the franchise, of the community. And again, probably doesn't delve into the haters, but he knows they're out there every day.
Mm-hmm.
And so, I wish him all the best in his future endeavors. And I really think, it's got to get to you. And Brady, you spoke to it a little bit earlier. You got parents coming after you after a loss to Point Loma. Really? Like you said, 15 to 18-year-olds, you're doing your best for very low pay. And, all of that. Oh, and I did want to just throw in maybe a thought for the game tomorrow is maybe get into like a coach speak mode, very technical, where so everyone is kind of hating on you, like for being like, you call the next play or all of this and all of that. And then you just sit back and let them enjoy the game and laugh at them. So,
Yeah, exactly.
Anyway, take care.
Martin, appreciate
good luck with that.
Thank you very
All
much.
right,
Appreciate the phone call. That is the thing with coaching, though. It's like the difference is some of us are trying our product out there every single day, and somebody's not. It's easy just to sit there and criticize, but you know what? It is what it is, and we'll see what happens next week. Anyway, that was a show that was very unplanned today.
Went well, though, I would say.
It's already over. I'm out of breath. Screaming too much, Frank. So much passion.
I know, right?
Some of us are passionate. Might not be your cup of tea, but you know what? You still follow me and you still listen every single day.
You know what the best part about doing nothing that we had planned on doing today is?
We got a show planned tomorrow.
Tomorrow's show is already written. I have literally nothing to do other than post the new YouTube page.
Zombieland Big Rig.
You're getting in trouble, man.
No, I'm not.
Every time you do that, you keep getting yourself in more and more
Justin
trouble.
Hughes knows what we're talking about. We didn't even mention Mike Shildt getting retiring today.
Didn't
We didn't
even mention
Didn't
that.
even mention it.
Nope.
Didn't mention it one time. Tomorrow at 10 in the morning to start our show, AJ Preller press conference will be aired on the airwaves, commercial free. For Frank Marchese, I'm Braden Surprenant. We'll talk to you guys tomorrow. Gwen and Chris coming up next.